and that's like, I mean, it's kind of incriminating in its own right to say like, oh,
Wait.
I just
For the
need
record, we're
that.
recording. We're recording, by the way. I just hit.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just talking about like being so autistic that I need feedback to know what's funny. I need to see you laughing. Oh, well, so what I said was funny just now. Okay, I'll continue to do that. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
but to be honest, though, what is funny is that you need that feedback. So if you say something funny and no one gives you feedback, you're just like, "Was that funny?" And
Yeah,
that's funny. That's pretty funny in itself, man. Like where you say something
I
funny and
mean,
you're
yeah.
standing.
In retrospect, it's a funny situation, but like in the moment, you're like, what? I mean, I can't log this. It's funny. My list. I have a list of things that are funny. It's a it's just constantly ever changing, revolving list of things that I've said recently that are funny. But
I feel
I don't know because like I don't know the caliber of these people. Like I feel like this is a good group. Like me and Jay are probably the most proficient people. Like
yeah, that's saying that's saying something, like on
exactly. Like we're aren't we
Facebook.
just? I feel like we're just right around normal. Like the people that we
Almost.
talk to here. Well, are we? I don't know. Like I have a tendency to like yeah be
Well, I
critical of
mean, I
myself.
know where my shit comes from. Like I guess I just have a lot of different experiences with different kinds of people, and that lets me like know how to deal with like a lot of different kind of people, because you got to deal with different types of people differently. Some people respond better to like just you not saying anything and you just let them do all the talking. Other people respond better if you just like sometimes you just have to tell them to shut the fuck up because that's just what they're used to, and if you don't give them that, they're just going to keep going and to their own detriment. Like
I feel like those kind of people you want to avoid.
exactly. So everyone's got their own preferences. But, with me, I do a lot of different things. Like I do martial arts, I do the DJ thing, the music
A
production
Renaissance
thing.
man.
You could say that, yeah. And, because I do a lot of different things, that puts me in positions where I have to deal with a lot of different people. But also, but before I get into anything else, I just want to fulfill my obligation, which I promise you once I hit record, I'll tell you about my own fucked up drug
I thought. Oh,
experience.
you just said it was recording.
Yeah, it is recording. So I'm saying since now we're recording, let me just like put it down. So basically, here's the story. This was back maybe 2000 and fucking I want to say 12 maybe. I don't fucking know. 13. It was a few years ago, and it was like a Halloween, and I did 2 tabs of like really strong acid. And it was funny because we all went into Manhattan as a group of friends all on acid in Halloween, and
Hmm.
like one of my friends, she was a girl, she freaked the fuck out. She basically like got into alienation mode. She was like, go away, go away, go away then, to everybody. And she just left with her boyfriend and their crew.
That
So
actually makes sense to me. Like I don't get people that do acid with other people. Like I can't be around other people when I'm on it. Like how do you? It's not a social drug.
i
What
could
you just?
i could see where you're coming from, but anyway. So like she leaves off, so it's just me and my friend, and this kid is kind of like, he's a weird kid, he's a weird guy. And at that point, I was just like kind of going off on him. I don't know why. Maybe because I just had like a lot of repressed thoughts that I didn't want to say, that I never said to him, that I just let it all out. And then I eventually like drove him off. I was like, you know what? Just walk the fuck away. Just get the fuck away from me.
Be
Like
gone. Be
yeah,
gone.
exactly. So it was just basically me tripping balls on acid on 2 tabs around Manhattan by myself. And eventually, I just start like, this is where I really lose my shit. And I have interesting thoughts about this. But anyway, this is where I start like going on a fucking monologue. Like I start yelling out loud, like start screaming. Like I don't think it was nonsense. Like it was clearly like it was like basically me just arguing with nobody. And I was just
Oh
like
my god.
walking, yeah,
That sounds a lot like what happened to me, but I
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
on acid.
So I just do that, and then I'm walking around, and like eventually a crowd forms around me because they think I'm just some crazy guy losing it. Yo, I end up at the World Trade Center. So like at the World Trade Center on this night at Halloween, there were some like like security guards slash cops, like standing around the perimeter. So I go up to them, and I start talking mad shit, like to the cop's face. I'm like, "You fucking pigs! Look at you, you fucking pieces of shit!" And I'm like, "What the fuck are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna do?"
Uh,
And then one of the cops reaches for his gun, and I drop to my knees, and I start crying out loud. I'm like, "Please don't kill me!" And then I straight up tell them, it's like, I took 2 tabs of acid, I'm on drugs, but I'm not crazy. And then they're like, "Wait, you're on drugs? You're on hallucinogenics?" I'm like, "Yes. I took 2 tabs of LSD, and now I figured it out. I understand that the world is a simulation, that none of you are real, and that I know that eventually, since I figured this out, in about 5 minutes, they're gonna come and collect me to liquidate me, because I cracked the code. And I just want to say, before I die, A, I want to see my girlfriend, and B, I want to meet the president. Then you could do whatever you want. So from there, they put me in the back of like a fucking a
I
cop
like how that was
SUV.
that's code that like they have to take you away for is like this schizo revelation.
Yo, they fucking zip tied my feet together and my hands. I guess it was protocol because I openly admitted I was on like mind altering substances. The
Mhm.
paramedics pick me up, and then they're like asking me questions like, what did you take? And the whole time I'm like looking at this fucking like Asian bald paramedic guy, and I'm like, I swear I could see he has lizard eyes, and I'm like, he's one of them. He's come to like liquidate me. And as he's like talking to me, like I start sobering up, and I realize the reality of my situation. By the time I got to the hospital, I was completely sober. I just get there, they take me in,
That's what
they
liquidate means is the Jews come and they turn you into cash.
exactly. So yeah, they took me to the hospital bedroom,
Gold bars.
and I just fucking leave. Like I basically escaped the hospital. But they're like, all right, let me just come right back, and I'll take your information down, and you could just like take your coat off and settle down. So they leave, and then I just escape immediately. I'm like, all right, and I slip out. I like walk through the front doors. I realize I didn't have my phone on me. So I go to the first stranger I meet like, after I leave the hospital, and I'm like, I'm sorry, could I use your phone? I dropped my phone. And they were like, sure. So I call my phone. Some fucking drunk ass girl picks up. She's like, hello? Is this your phone? I just found this in the World Trade Center. I'm like, yeah, it's my phone. Can you like hide it somewhere? She's like, okay, I'll put it under a vending machine. I'm like, thanks. So I go back.
Ah, public intoxication.
So I go
SMH.
so I go back to the World Trade Center. The same cops are there laughing at me as I get my phone. And that was it. That was my night. I cabbed it home from there.
Oh man, it reminds me of like these videos that I've seen sometimes on 4chan on like a GIF. I say our GIF. I'm going on Reddit a lot lately, But, in all humility, just gonna mention that. Yeah, so I may be off my game because Reddit just taints you, it corrupts you. But
Reddit.
like I see like these videos of cops like a black guy like go up talking some shit or like he'll do something like bump into the guy like he'll check them he'll shoulder check him, and then as soon as the cop makes a move like he's just like on the ground like pissing his pants crying like please no master please I'll suck you down. I'll do anything you want man I don't want to go to jail again. So yeah yeah it's funny, it's a funny story. Well that was a highlight for me like yeah it was a good you closed it up nicely with the drunk girl.
Oh my god. It was just. Oh yeah, and like I think like I also had I have some theories about like my specific reaction to the acid. I think like, when you take like an average person and you push them to the brink, like in my case it was pushed to the brink of like psychosis, with like 2 tabs of really strong acid. But I
Mhm.
think like generally a person will react one of two ways. They will either A, be like like me, like extremely schizophrenic, pretty much, like they get pushed to schizophrenia, or
Yeah.
B, they just reach like maximum autism levels and they just completely shut down and just have that blind fluoride stare, like they're just like sitting there
Yeah.
for like hours, because like they just shut down, and
I don't
I,
know if well, hours. Like I've experienced that before, but it only happens for like a few moments. Like where you just like everything is so overwhelming. Like it'll be like following a schizo episode where you're just like, okay, I can't. Like my brain is just being is like yeah, it's like overstimulated. So you need to like shut down for a few moments, just like get your bearings. And so, but that's probably true. Like I haven't read many Irwood stories, but there's probably people that have like just blanked out for a few hours, and that doesn't sound very fun.
yeah, but at the same time being like manic schizo isn't pretty fun either, because like
I don't know. Yeah, it's scary. It's very scary.
because that's when you can't trust your own thoughts and shit, and you're like, fuck, I swear this world is a simulation, I figured it out, they're gonna kill me, I'm done. But what I was proud of myself for is that like is of how like acceptant I was pretty zen about it. Even yeah, I was thinking like some crazy fucking thoughts. I was like, oh shit, like I'm about to be liquidated by the
It's like,
aliens, the lizard
well, it's a
people.
rational conclusion. Like now that I'm like this, I might as well accept the things as they are.
Exactly. So it's like, at least now I know, like, at least even if I am pushed to that state, at least I have the fortitude to be able to be like, okay, well, let's think rationally about my irrationality. Like, panicking's not going to help, right? Like,
Hmm. Yeah, that reminds me a lot of my revelation that I had while I was on my drug combination. Like, if we can segue to that, I don't know, like, take away from your story, but I feel
no,
like
it's fine.
it was ending there. But like, like the drug combination that I was on, that like we mentioned off
Off the
mic,
mic.
it was a yeah, alcohol and Vyvanse. It caused me to have like it was paranoid delusions and like auditory hallucinations of people trying to kill me at my door with a gun. So I jumped out the window and ran around the neighborhood half naked in the snow. So it was like a movie. It was like a Fargo or something. I was just like running around. Is that a scene in Fargo? I don't think so, but you
It
know,
would be a scene in Fargo, right?
it would. Yeah, it would. According to me, right now, like it would help if it would. But yeah, like I did that and I had to go to the hospital. And my dad met me there, and I thought my dad was Satan. Like yeah, like
No,
2 hours.
dude,
Like I
that's
was like
just
in a hospital bed for 2 hours, and it felt like an eternity. And I was like, okay, so this is hell, and I'm in a hospital bed, and they can all read my mind. And every time I come to a conclusion, they undermine it. And like I felt like everybody else in the neighboring hospital beds had their own like local or the personalized punishments. Like the guy next to me, he didn't actually have that, but like I hallucinated that he had chopped his cock off or something, and like a schizo episode, like he wanted to be a
Yeah,
eunuch, and then he regretted it right afterwards.
you're definitely a schizo type. I could totally picture you like, when pushed to your brink, like you get to that point. You don't shut down. You kind of like turn on too much. You're like, "Oh my God,
Yeah,
dude, like I got to kill myself now." Like
yeah, man. Like it's yeah, it was overwhelming, and like the hell, it was so vivid. Like I believed it for that period of time, for those 2 hours. Like I thought I was in hell. So like this is me. Me talking right now is a few days after I actually believed I was in hell. It was like a
No,
waking
dude.
nightmare.
What I just my with my story, that's I totally get it. Like where for some reason your mind just fabricated this whole new reality, and for some reason it's just plausible to your consciousness at that point in time, and you're like, "Fuck, this is totally true. I totally figured it out." And then
You become like an agnostic in those moments because you're like particularly vulnerable to suggestion. Sorry, get some water here. Suggestion, and you're like very impressionable to like your thoughts that you normally just shut down.
exactly.
So, uh, excuse me.
Damn, that's
Yeah, and
interesting
I'm trying to
shit.
like find the story. Like I wrote the story out in detail, and I would rather just read that than like yeah recall it from memory because
Oh no, that's good. First of all, read like if you write out a segment to read as like a bit on the podcast, that helps immensely because that burns time. And that's what
mhm,
we need to do. We gotta basically burn time with our
that's what it
bullshits.
is, right? It's an exercise in burning time. And then you have some funny moments,
And
peppered in
hopefully,
there somewhere. And that's what
yeah.
people they come for that, like the Easter eggs. They're like, oh wow, this is funny now. Like I guess I'll stick around for more. And you don't have to be funny the whole time, and that makes it sound more natural and relatable. Because like, you can't just be funny all the time. Like that would just be alienating.
Yeah, that'll be like fucking Gilmore Girls, a freaky
So
ass
I found
show.
it. I found what I wrote down.
All right, let's
If,
hear it.
right. The experience was pretty shocking for me because it was the first time I had ever been subject to a waking nightmare that convinced me it was real. I legitimately thought that I'd gone to hell and my punishment was to wait in a hospital bed and have my dad and every orderly undermine my protests with the wait. It felt like I spent several years waiting 2 hours. I'm just gonna like drink this water before I continue.
Go for it, man. This is really good stuff, by the way.
Thanks. And I hallucinated screams from neighboring hospital beds lamenting their individual torments. One guy had to live an eternity with a severed penis, and whenever I would turn to my dad and ask what I did to deserve this, he would drown out my thoughts by saying my fate was nothing compared to the severity of his. It was basically being constantly belittled in my own ironic brand of torture, which on a surface level seemed relatively mild as opposed to something like a Promethean curse, but it's not a very unique delusion, but it was alarmingly vivid and easily the worst thing that ever happened to me. Just unnecessarily humbling. I really regret it. Like, in retrospect, it's an annoying memory to have to address because every supposed lesson, quote unquote lesson I learned quickly, faded into cheesy Hallmark garbage, like lifetime garbage after the drugs wore off. But at the time, they took on a religious level of importance. Like I believed it wholeheartedly. So that was it. It had no conclusion.
No, dude, that's good. I think you should write up more bits like that. Like so in the
Well,
future.
it's not a bit like I don't want to frame that as a bit
I mean,
because
not
like
a bit, but anecdotes. Like, well,
I'll
actually,
write I'll write some funny bits that I can read,
you know what it is? It's
like
like
the Cosby bit.
it's like uh a crystallizing experience from like the vapors of your nuanced existence.
Yes, yes, that sounds right.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know
that's
what that
good,
means,
right?
but it sounds right.
Yeah. Oh man, I gotta smoke more often. Come up with more shit like that.
Well, you need to do what more often?
Smoke weed. I'm just smoking weed right now.
Uh,
Stoner, bro.
I wish I
Stoner.
could. Like I used to smoke weed, but I don't know. Like I can't do it anymore. Like I'm too schizo now. I've damaged myself too much to do it.
Dude, you're still young, man. You'll bounce back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been a few years since I like smoked regularly, and it's still kind of. Yeah, I'm moving on. I'm finding new drugs to replace the old ones.
Are you still in Baltimore?
No. Oh, I lied about that, by the way. I was never in Baltimore, but it's close enough, and it's like it's I'm in a Baltimore suburb, but
Would you ever
no,
would you
not,
ever consider moving to like a more depressing, excitingly depressing city like New York City?
well, where I live, it's like a country vibe. It's like very laid back. So,
Do you prefer that?
I don't know. I think a city might like make me go crazy because there's like traffic going on in the background. But apparently, you just learn to like you drown it out, you tune it out after a while because it all blends together. But here, it's like to reference like the It's Always Sunny. Oh my God, stumbling. There's like this It's Always Sunny episode where you're familiar with that show, right?
Yeah.
Where Mac and Dennis they move to the suburbs, and like when they move there, they realize that like individual noises that they can't pinpoint are actually more annoying than like the combined noises of the city because you focus on it, like you can't think about anything else. It's just this one thing that's happening.
Silence is
So
deafening, man.
yeah, so like I might actually be okay. I can adapt, I think, pretty well, but like I have like misophonia, and I'm like very sensitive to noise, so I don't know. Yeah, I would like to try it at least once in my life.
What, living in a city?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, go for it, man. Come through. Come to New York. Find some bullshit job like being a bar back. You'll probably get a shitload of tips, you
I mean,
know.
how do you afford to live there?
I mean, I work for fucking Jewish loan sharks, like not joking. Like I literally work for like rich Jewish Orthodox Jewish loan sharks and they pay me a good salary for what I do. And because I mean they should because like I've been their network admin for like fucking almost 10 years now. So I think to replace me would just be fucking more work for them at this point than it's worth. So they'll just like every time I ask for a raise, it's not much, but they've given it to me over the years, so I get a pretty hefty sum now.
Well, that's good. Yeah. I mean, don't get too comfortable with it. Like, don't like start drinking on the job because you feel like they can't replace you. I mean,
No,
like this.
that's actually exactly what I do. Like I drink on the job, I fucking smoke weed on the job. I mean I'm on Facebook talking to you guys on the job all the time, like every day. Like
Mm-hmm.
so clearly, you know, they give me a lot of leeway,
You get
which
some dispensation.
yeah, which probably explains a lot about why I'm still fucking working there because like, dude, my boss is smart. He knows like I have it good. Like,
Hmm. Well, as long as you like, keep it under control, I'm sure you do.
of course,
So,
of course. I've been like I said, it's like almost a decades of work experience. I know how that shit works.
hmm yeah, he thinks that he's irreplaceable. And it's like he's fucking pedophile, and he's got like people calling his business all the time, like saying that, like, dude, do you know this guy working for you is like, you talking to kids online,
That's
and like,
mad funny. That's hilarious. Oh man,
sending screenshots.
it's fucked up. He's got like this specter that's always going to follow him of people of telling everyone like every new person in his life. It's like, yo, your homie is a fucking creep, bro. He's a fucking pedophile. Like that's like
I
a
feel like
horrific. That's horrific. Like
he's dealing with it fairly well, though. I mean,
I
he hasn't
know,
been
right?
fired yet.
He's like he hasn't killed himself. Like shit.
He's
That's
still active in the community that hates him. It's like the only community that's aware of him, and they still are like talking to him on a regular basis. It's because he's entertaining. It's like it's somebody to hate.
it's like a Chris Chan effect.
Hmm. I'm trying to find well, it doesn't matter. Like it's not even a bit. I was just like explaining what the bit might have been, like the Cosby bit about
Oh god, that's so
about
funny.
about me understanding why he drugged the woman because women are annoying during sex.
At his old years, of course, he'd want to come in some peace and
I'm gonna bust
quiet.
in peace and tranquility.
Oh my god, that was so funny. You should definitely use that. Like, if you ever do an open mic, that's a good one.
And there's an open mic nearby, but I don't think they would be too receptive to it. I mean, it's kind of a conservative community. Well, not really. Like the younger generation is predominantly liberal, so they would still take issue with that. I feel like the conservatives might actually they would embrace that.
Yo, let's be real. I mean, how hard is it really to just entertain a room full of fucking drunk people by saying stupid shit? Like, let's be real. I
It's
mean, not
not,
that
which is why it's like weird to even want to do that.
yeah, but you know, it for me, like I don't really, as you know, I plan to get into it, but I don't really take it seriously. Like I just feel like I have to because, well, I don't want to fucking see a therapist. Like,
You don't take it seriously, but you have to.
I don't want to see a therapist, but because you know, I don't want to pay for the services and all that
And
shit.
therapists are also they're all psychotic. They just want to like inject problems into you so you can come back and they'll fix the problems that they made. That's how it works.
Yeah,
I
dude.
was a psych major. I know how this works.
One of the most sought after and valuable academic pursuits is to major in psychology. Like nobody does that because it's so hard.
And didn't like Charles Carroll say that? I don't want to put you on blast.
Who?
Charles Carroll, like from MDE. He was like one of those three.
No, no, no. I mean, no. Well, first of all, I know that's like a common joke, like where it's like, oh, you know, you did psychology major, huh? Like that's new. I've never seen that before. But
Well, I
like,
mean, it's
I
not
think it's good. I think I appreciate, you know,
it's not a
this.
breeze. I mean,
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think it's first of all, I think it's an interesting topic. I think it's an interesting subject. Like I'm into psychology because it's you know it's really fun figuring out how
it's
people think.
useful. You can manipulate people.
Yeah, the only thing is my only gripe about it is that it gets because I feel like the major of psychology is focused on like treating shit. A lot of like what you learn is geared towards like you know like mental illness or deficiencies, like basically things that are fucked up and wrong with your mind.
Well, why
Like
else would you?
it's like a
Why?
different kind of study when you're like, all right, so instead of just learning psychological things just to figure out how to fucking quote unquote help people, help myself, what about like getting what I want? You know, like what about like fucking I don't know, like not necessarily manipulating people, but influencing people. You know, that's not exactly something that's readily covered in like psychology majors. Maybe they brush over it, but they don't
I
really
mean, like a
like
TED talk from a person telling you how to like fucking gaslight somebody.
exactly, you know, like nah, but actually, you know what? You could say gaslighting is one useful tool of controlling someone and controlling their thoughts and actions, but I don't know. I'm
We're
talking
just
about
trying to like pull terms out of our ass to like demonize it. I mean, gaslighting, manipulation. Like it's just conversation. Like people talking with one another. They're trying to get something out of the interaction. Like that's all it is. It's like a
yeah.
manipulation. But if you're like too premeditated about it or like too conscious of it, it seems creepy because you know people who think it's creepy are just less proficient at it, of course. So.
Well, the thing is, they want you to be a natural, and as far as like I don't know, I guess being like a person like who's what's the word competent at like social
Mm.
dynamics and like understanding how people tick. I think that is first of all that's not just useful, but it's probably necessary to you know lead like to see success in like any pursuit. You gotta know how to deal with people, and I think like
Yeah.
a lot of like that has to do with dealing with people effectively is just to kind of be honest about like a lot of
Well,
like
I mean,
aspects about human nature.
there is a major for that. I mean, you're saying there's like a dearth because psychology is geared towards treating mental illnesses, but like communications majors exist.
That's true. You know, that's probably a badass fucking major, like communications and shit.
It is.
Learn how
My
learn.
ex took it, and it was like it was just babies. And shit. Like it was, it literally looks like it was for preschoolers. Like I could not believe what I was saying. She was like complaining about it being hard, and I was like, "Is this why you can't come to these dates on time? Because of this shit? Communicate how to talk with somebody and not make them feel uncomfortable. Mirror their body language. Wow, holy shit!
I mean, yeah, like first of all, when it comes to like interactions like that, like I'm saying like how to do this, how to do that. I mean, what another important, you know, thing you have to focus on is why. First of all, why do we want to learn how to, you know, how to make people do this or how to, you know, not do how to make people not do that? Like it's because at the end of the day, we want power, you know, like
Money,
nobody
power, yeah.
nobody first of all you can't look at like desiring power as like as a unethical or immoral thing because the truth is no human being likes to be powerless. We know this, we learn this as children, right? Like you know
Hmm.
as kids that's why we fucking cry out as babies because we can't do anything ourselves. We have to literally manipulate the adults in our life, you know, that because we're powerless, so we have to figure out a way to you know use the power of others so that we could fucking
I
survive.
need power. I need it. So
Exactly, we
it's a
need
basic human right because I need power.
everyone needs power. So, I mean, clearly it's not like power is just randomly distributed to some people and not others. There's clearly a method, you know, when it comes to acquiring and accruing power and maintaining power. And that's really all determined by like, when it comes down to it, like how to gain power and to keep it, it's all about the choices you make. Like
Well,
when
it is randomly dispersed in like a fatalistic sense.
Yeah, but there's plenty of cases where like you start with say a person like a peasant who starts with no power, and they have to take steps. They have to go through a method with dealing with others to acquire more power. Like those rags to riches story. That basically is
And,
like,
and yeah, yeah, and usually they'll have like pre-existing, I don't know, like a talent or whatever for, they'll have like an inclination towards people. Like I mean, the con
well,
men, they don't get into that because they aren't good at tricking people.
yeah, I mean, like if you look at history, right? There's certain people that just happen to be good at like one specific element of like social dynamics, and they were able to leverage it really well. Some without even thinking, others, whatever. And on the flip side, there's a lot of examples of history where people had power and did something to fuck it up. They made some kind of like fatal error in their methodology that made them like end up on a chopping block. And it could all be broken down into like principles. Like for example, like one principle would be like never when it comes for the sake of like having power and maintaining it, never put too much trust in your friends, because you learn how to use your enemies. Why? Because your friends like know where to hurt. They know your weaknesses. They know your most vulnerable points because they're your friends. They know you the best. So you
Hmm.
take wisdom like that and you apply it to your professional life. Like I don't want to work with my friends. I want to work with people not that I want around as friends. I want people that I can trust to be competent. And sometimes they're not people that you fucking like. Sometimes they could be former enemies. So if you're able to turn a former enemy into a friend, then you're in a much better position.
That's called a professional friend,
Yeah, exactly. Like basically
career friend.
someone who you can rely on to get the fucking job done. Because
Hmm.
your best friend in like your social personal life might not be the best friend to work with. Even though you trust them with your life and whatever, it still might not be like someone you want to trust with your fucking finances and half of your like stake in a company.
And even if you did trust them with your life, it wouldn't be for like a reason like, oh, they care about me so much. It would be because like, oh, well, they wouldn't take the risk because this person is just they're
Exactly. And most often when people get hurt by people in their lives, it's usually from people that they trust, right? Like, family, friends, and people that are close
yeah.
to them.
Hmm.
It's like there's a quote. I think it's if you want to pick a good enemy, choose a friend because they know where to hit.
Hmm. Yeah, well, and that also makes sense because like you want to surround yourself with people that are like similar to you in competence. Like
Oh,
you don't want
and that's just like one principle. We're still this is just one element. Like there's probably a bunch of principles. Like another one I could think of is like never fucking never make your superior look bad. Never outshine them. Never outshine the master. The reason being is because your master, whether it's your boss, your patron, or your parent, even, or your adopted family, whoever the fuck, basically the person, everyone has this is a hierarchy. Like whoever you
yeah, I mean, it
rely.
sounds kind of obvious, but yeah, you got to let them maintain their pride because that's what gives them the ability to have that brutal position.
But a lot of people don't get that because a lot of people wound their pride without even meaning to. For example, like they'll do some grand gesture in their name in their honor, but then the person who's doing it would feel insecure. They're like, "Wow, this person could really go all out like this and throw like the sickest banger." I mean, even if it's for me, it still kind of makes me look bad because he's the cool guy that throws the parties. He's the one that everyone wants to talk to, not me, like shit like that. Like you got to be careful.
Yeah, 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 I agree. Yeah, and you're like wondering like why they don't teach this stuff like professionally. Like, is this just like street logic? Like,
Well, first of all, I mean, the thing about acquiring and accruing power is like on the surface level, it's generally seen as like a distasteful thing to do if you do this openly. Like a gaining power can't be something you just brazenly do and you just openly
oh
like.
yeah, I was talking to Ed about this actually, about like how he would like give people money, and then he didn't really understand the fact that there's like an unspoken favor here. He's claiming not to understand, but there's like an unspoken debt there when you give people money online, and that's why people are looking at him as like a creep, giving people money for free, and he's like, well, I'm just being nice, and so, well, I mean, dude, like you don't like borrow money from friends. It's like kind of like a simple fact, and he's like, well, I don't understand why.
Yeah,
I've explained it to you several times from several different angles. I don't know why you're not getting this.
that's
But
another
like,
yeah, that's a problem too. Is like there's multiple things wrong with it on multiple different levels. So it's like at some point a person's gonna be like, I don't get it. No, it's because like you can't just give people things for no reason. First of all, that's something you actively should distrust because you're like nothing comes for free, which is just true. Like
yeah, yeah. Nothing. Well, I mean, it's just I understand that, but it's like at the same time, if somebody's going to offer me free money, am I just not going to take it?
Exactly.
Because, he gave me $40 for my birthday, and I was like, I know if I accept this, he's gonna give me an earful for it. But I'm just, I'm taking $40. I'm not gonna just leave that there.
You're like, it's worth it. It's worth the future, whatever the fuck is coming. Like, I'll do it.
The future 20 hours of a harangue that he gives me about, not respecting him and Sabine, even though Sabine is like actively cheating on him all the time with Phil.
Oh my god. Facebook
Well,
bro.
this probably I shouldn't say this stuff because people don't have the context. So
All right. I mean, I think like we could work that into the lore over time because the game is consistency, right? Even if we do make like random references that people don't get over time, because that's
that's yeah, that's part of the charm, the mystique. Is like I want to know more about this person they're talking about. I don't know.
I want to know more about this fucking pedophile guy that creeps on children who's on Facebook. Like,
Yes, provocative. You
oh
sound a lot
fucking.
like my friend Brent. Or, like he was a former friend that I had. He was a Korean. No, he was a Vietnamese guy. Yeah, Brent. He was like 2 grades above me, and I would like hang out with his younger brother Brian. But like eventually we became friends after I graduated because like I would go to Brian's house, and then Brian sometimes would have to like leave for. He's like a chemistry major, so he would have to like go to like Merck or whatever.
America.
And I would just hang out with Brent while I was there because I'd like wake up and I would like go to his room. Hey, I'm still here, and he'd be like, "Oh, hey, come in." And eventually, that relationship culminated in us fighting because he like took issue with me saying that I was like pointing out that he said something about Gary Johnson being part of the Green Party or part of the Libertarian Party or whatever. I don't know. And I like Googled it and like he was wrong. So I said it's the other one. It's not the Green Party. I'm just like, I'm helpful. I'm giving him some advice. And then he decided he wanted to duel me like
Wait,
Ronin
wait,
style.
wait. What do you mean duel you?
Like he wanted to have like a fist fight with me because I corrected him in like a group chat. So it was like embarrassing for him in front of our friends that he didn't know this fact about Gary Johnson. And
He's
what
like,
reminded
yo,
me of him is because like, he
yeah.
had the same laugh that you do. Like you sound similar. But maybe it's because you're both Asian. I don't know. Maybe you just have like a foreign laugh.
Dude, you made me look bad in the group chat. Now I gotta beat your ass.
Yeah,
That dude
and I don't
rules.
want to. I'll just leave it at this. Suffice it to say, I won. I mean, he's Asian, so
Oh my god,
you
and
know.
he lost the fight.
Yeah, so that's why we couldn't be friends after that. I wanted to be friends. I was like, that solves it, right?
Dude, I love
That
him.
fixes
It's so
things.
funny.
And he was like,
That's
I mean, he said so like openly. He was like, yeah, we're cool. And then eventually, we just parted ways. So
well, I wouldn't fight you over that, Kane.
that's good to hear. I mean, you're older than he was at the time, so that makes sense. Probably more wise.
I mean, I'm not really much of a fighter, to be honest. Like, I'll argue with
Me
someone
neither. I was
100%,
scared shitless. I'm not a fighter. Like, I mean, he challenged me to a fight, so like, I didn't want to look bad either in front of my friends. So I was like, yes, I'll accept your challenge. Yeah, I was
because you know
the
why? You're a very logical being, and and even your logic told you like you have to fight him. Like there's no reason not to. Like
it's the only way.
that's
I wasn't
great.
thinking the long term though. Like I kind of wish he was still like in my life, but that would be like hard to reconcile with him at this point. Well, maybe not. I mean, enough time has passed. Maybe he wouldn't have like those masculine hangups, but I don't know.
Nah, dude, what you should do is you should focus on yourself first. If anything, let him come to you. Let him hit you up. It's like, yo, dude,
I
I
don't.
heard you're on this
I
great
don't think that's gonna
podcast.
happen. I don't
What?
think that's happening. Like, I don't think it's gonna happen. Like him coming to me. Like
Yeah,
I
maybe.
mean, we live on like opposite sides of the world. Well, not the world, the nation, but it's my world, the U.S. He lives in California. He's part of the Department of Homeland Security now, actually.
Really?
So yeah, he's doing well. I mean, and so is Brian. He's a chemical engineer working at DuPont. So I mean, like, they're Asian, so I don't think they're like. But okay, this is something I wanted to talk about as well. Do you think that the fact that Asian IQ is generally higher than white people's IQ, like on the test scores, the bell curve? Do you think that's due to their upbringing and they're like highly disciplined, so they know how to take a test well, or do you think like discipline can actually like alter your brain in a way that like allows you to like take these tests in like a better way?
I think it's definitely a mixture of things, right? First of all, we have to take into account like selective breeding.
Mhm.
Mates. People choose their mates to breed with, like based on a variety of factors, and one of them, like a big one, is intellect. Like a lot of
Mhm.
people want to be with a smart person, make babies with smart people because they figure, on an animal level, then my kids will be smart. So there's that, and then
Or a
there's
smart person can make money.
Yeah, yeah, that too. Or figure out ways to acquire resources, especially in a
Hmm.
world where you have to use your brain more than your fucking, I don't know, your fist or your dick. But
Hmm.
like, but there's that, and then we also have to take into consideration the conditioning, like you said, which is the discipline aspect, where that's what is that really based on? It's based on values, right? It's all
Yeah.
based on when, like, a whole chunk of society can get together and collectively say, we value this, we value academics, we value making kids study, right? There's
And
that
that
element
value, I
to
mean,
it.
like think about like maybe it stemmed from just a genetic predisposition for academia, or I don't maybe maybe that's because of like a genetic intelligence that they have. But I don't know like what it is exactly the cultural factors that went into that. Like, do you know? I mean, you're Asian.
Well, yeah, of course. A lot of it has to do with simply war. When you look at a culture, like, it's such an old culture that's been, like, has a huge history of just constant, like, fighting and killing and warfare. Like, it eventually makes your people kind of, like, look at shit, like, critically a lot more often, because it's not just war, actually. It's also, like, there's cultures with that had to live in, like, really harsh conditions, like really cold elements where you can't really grow
Mhm.
food as easily. So you have to, I don't know, use your brain power more
And
and figure out.
that's the same principle that applies to why Ashkenazi Jews are smarter. Is because they had like a hostile environment, and then the ones that survived were the ones that could escape from the
Yeah, so
killing forces.
so to answer your question, like, I don't know, like, I think they're probably all correct, in some way or form. Like, all everyone's theories is like, oh, it's because of the genetics, it's
Well, yeah,
because.
I'm sure they all have like there's always a percentage of correctness, but I'm just like
Yeah,
wondering what the ratio is.
yeah, but I don't know. I mean, as an Asian, I don't know, if I were to just, like, off the cuff, like, I don't know, like, they just happen to really, you know what, let me think on it more, because, like, I never really felt like a model Asian. I wasn't really I wasn't exactly the best student. I kind of just didn't go to school.
But is it any coincidence that you're Asian and you're in this hyper intelligent podcast? That I mean,
um I
just
don't
putting two
know.
and two together.
Oh, you know what I think I can say. At least, I could attribute this to my vocabulary. Like, I did read a lot of books. I did a lot of
Mhm.
reading. I also watched a shit fucking ton of movies, because my entire family except for me are immigrants. So they could only teach me so much about American culture. Like, I was the only one who was really born into it. So I grew up and I learned everything about American culture through movies and TV shows, and I would just watch this shit, and I'd be
And you
like,
have to pay
where.
attention to the narrative, so you have like you're building like these pathways, these neural pathways that allow you to like pay attention and solve problems and like figure out like a plot line. So yeah, these things, yeah, they factor. And this is like a part of a misconception that I wish that people didn't have about media that like phones are bad for you, like they're
Nah,
overstimulated.
it's
I
it's
think you should
necessary.
you
It's
should be
fucking
stimulated.
it's important. We need that
Like
shit from
when I
people.
went to rehab after the psych ward stay, like both places, I had my phone confiscated from me, and I feel like dumber as a result because I wasn't able to stay as stimulated as I usually am.
Well, on
So
the flip side, though, I don't think it's a stimulation issue with, like, things like, I don't know, easy access to social media. It's the part that has to do with, like, emotional regulation, because that shit fucking it fucks with your, like, your emotional balance, like, really badly. I think, where you're
it's
constantly
an addiction, yeah.
like, first of all, also, I don't think the human brain is really equipped to take in so much fucking information so quickly.
Well, I mean, well, we're built different, so I mean, when you're built different like us, I mean, we're just taking information in all the time, just just for the record. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
we're still like we're dealing with monkey brains, so we have the same core values as a monkey, pretty much. Like eat, drink water, exercise occasionally. I don't know now that's obsolete apparently.
Basically go Joe Rogan mode.
Yeah, like he have you like seen his schedule? Like, he like wakes up at 3 a.m. He drinks like a berry cocktail, and then he like goes on a run for 2 hours, and it's
Dude.
insane. Like, I don't understand like how anybody could have that life, and I feel like that would be unhealthy because it's more wear and tear on the body. Like, this is why I'm anti gym and anti exercise, is because I mean, like, the more movement you do, you only have so many knee bends in one life. Like your joints, there's like a finite amount of movements they can have before they start to give out.
Yeah, but you remember, you're not a fat person. Like, if you're a fat person, you should
Still
probably
in
be
gravity,
telling.
yeah. I mean, gravity exists though. I mean, but yeah, I know like fat people would have a much worse time of it. But
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, guess what?
Huh? What?
We're way past the time. Like we have like mad content now. Should we keep going or should I just press stop recording?
We can keep going. I think we're like on a bit of a roll here, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because the good part is if you have like really, really long extended sequences, you could chop it up into separate episodes.
yes, yes. And then
We
we
can't
won't
we
have to
can't
do
we
it.
can't say we're doing that like we literally just did because people will feel like we're cheaping them out. But whatever, fuck them, you know. Like
Oh, it's not live. Well, it's not live anyway. I mean, like, oh, this conversation is live, but like they're not going to receive it live. So
the
they're
the,
just getting it's a delayed episode.
the real gripe is like if we do that, then that means we're being lazy. So we like like we don't do it like instead of doing it every week where we could like keep up with current shit, we just drop it all at once and just chop it up and shit. That's a lazy way to do it probably.
Yeah, I mean, some people would call that resourceful, but yeah.
What kind of
Yeah.
people would call that resourceful, Kane?
The kind of people like me, because I'm lazy. I just want to like make it sound better.
All right,
I,
yeah.
I mean, I'm lying down right now. I'm just like
Oh hell's
most
yeah.
like in podcasts, you usually see people like in a chair, like an office chair, sitting around a table. Like, okay, let's get down to the nitty gritty here.
Yeah.
What we're talking about, like an
Dude,
NPR.
I gotta say, man, you're like really good at this, dude. I could shoot
Oh,
the shit
thanks.
with you for a long time. Yo, I mean, me and Jay, like we had it pretty good too. Like it's pretty good. I think I really do wonder what the three of us will be like though. That's what I'm really waiting for. I think that'll be so fun.
The thing is, I feel like we have different things that we add or contribute to this. Like, Jay probably has more knowledge of political affairs that are going on, and I think is he a history major? I
I don't
think
know,
so.
man. It's just I know like
He seems to know a lot more than I do. And, like, it makes me feel bad and insecure because I'm like, oh yes, that sounds right.
well, you know,
And I'm like,
he was like a school teacher, you know? Like so his job
yeah,
was an
or
educator.
a teacher's aide. I don't know if he was a teacher
No, 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 he was a
or
teacher,
professor.
but no, not a
Professor
professor.
sounds.
Not a professor.
Hmm. Well, yeah. Well, okay, so Brian, he was. I think Brian had the same kind of a role that he had like as a teacher. Like he was just given like a class of freshmen to just oversee pretty much while they did their homework for other classes. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm like I'm like casting judgment on Jay without even knowing the whole details. I just want to like make him look bad because he knows more about history than I do. And a history major is something I want to get because and this is maybe like a really Jewy reason to want to have a history major is because Larry David had one. He
Yeah,
had a bachelor's in history, and he's one of my first role models that I really looked up to.
that's good.
And Larry David, Seinfeld, say Bill Cosby, like still, and partially I'm just keeping that around because I feel like it's transgressive to like still like Bill Cosby, even though he's objectively good. He had like 5 Grammys in a row for his
Do you
comedy albums.
like his stuff? Is he
Yeah,
good?
it's good. It's very well constructed. Yeah, it's
Damn.
yeah. I mean, sure, maybe like people will retcon the shit, but like by saying like, oh well, this means he was talking about drugging some of the Spanish Fly, but no, I mean, that's just he was just being funny. Yeah, I don't think he would. He was a genius. Like I mean, he had like the highest IQ score in his high school, so I don't think he would be, conscious. He would be conscious of everything he's putting into his act. I don't think he would be, subconsciously adding things about his, his proclivity for, sedating and raping people. But, to each their own.
Yo,
I mean, we,
by the way, not to knock you off topic here, but Jay just messaged the group chat. He said he's cooking dinner and stuff.
oh, great, Jesus,
I'll message him. So, I mean, maybe like later on we could do like another.
we
If you,
could like later on tonight, or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh, cool, cool, yeah, yeah, I'd be down for that.
Oh, finally, I'm so ready for it. This because now I could say like I
I
had
thought
one.
you guys were doubting me for a minute there because I was
Nah,
AWOL for a
dude, I
minute.
wasn't doubting you, man. I was just because like my thing is there's still work to be done. We still gotta like set some things up. We don't even have the name down, and we gotta figure out the platforms. I'm down with YouTube. I'm cool with it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think yeah, this is going well. So I haven't talked to Jay live yet, but I feel like me and Jay we share a lot of values. So
Yeah, and also like since we're not really getting anything from it yet, like we should probably just keep it like I want to keep I want to keep it as like chill and like cost free for you guys.
yeah, I mean it's pretty easy to do it freely. I mean I can get like a mic or something. Like, I'll stop being a dick about this and just like,
Thank you.
what, is this bad sound quality coming from me? I
No,
mean I'm,
no, no, no.
I'm
It's
like
it's good.
it's intelligible, right?
it's not any better. It's not any worse. I mean to say it's not any worse than like what I had with Jay.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I like how easy it is to get this group call shit though. Fuck.
Hmm.
Like Facebook might be the way for us.
I think so too. Well, I mean, yeah, we'll figure it out.
That would be funny though if like, if we did want guests, we could just like add someone, like make a fucking group chat and then add someone into it and then you could just fucking shoot the
Hmm.
shit.
You mentioned that earlier, but yeah, I agree. And this, I think, we're just getting into the groove of things. So like, it's not like consistently funny. Or I mean, I think that's kind of the point. It's like it's not supposed to be like a comedy. It's like half educated, it's edutainment, as iDubbbz would put it. Like half education, half. You understand?
iDubbbz, what a king.
iDubbbz. Well, I mean, he's simp status now, so I don't think it's appropriate to say that he's a king. Maybe he's a prince.
I know. I was being
Yeah,
sarcastic.
maybe a bishop.
Maybe a
Well,
queen,
I'm going along with it.
like a princess.
Would you rather be the queen or the king?
The king, 100% baby. Because like I just
Like, the king is like, he moves one space. I mean, the queen can go anywhere across the board. And the queen is like certainly more powerful. I mean, the king is most important, I guess, because if the king dies, you lose. So
yeah. So the queen always dies before the king.
yeah, but at the same time, like, wouldn't you want to be the queen more than you would want to be the king, just constantly cowering in the back?
I mean, me personally, of course, like that's just my person. But logically, I think like probably in a better position as the king.
True, that's true.
But yeah, I'd be I'd be that bottom bitch for the king. I'd be like, yo, I'll kill for you. I'll suck your dick, you kingly bastard.
As long as I get to go out there and kill as many people as I want,
Yeah. Wait.
as
I'm
long as I
probably
get
gonna
power.
sound like fucking retarded for asking this, but can you have more than one of your queen on the board? Like, let's say you do that thing where you get the pawn at the end of the board.
Hmm.
Can you get two queens?
I think so. Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, just
Wow, dude. Here, I
look it
thought
up.
you were asking me like chess related questions and shit, and I thought you were like a
I'm
fucking.
full of shit, man. I don't know what I'm talking
Ah!
about.
You got me. You got me. You got me
Well,
there.
let me see. Let's look it up. Can you have two queens? And this is like the Jesse segment. Like, Jesse, pull this out. Can you have?
Yo, in my other podcast, I wanted to say like, yo, we need a Jesse. Yo, pull that shit up. Oh, Jamie. I think it's Jamie. Yeah, pull that shit up.
Jamie? Yeah. Oh, you can have two queens. So I think so was correct. I second guessed myself. I doubted myself because of you.
Yeah. So not only are you're not even that special. Like the king.
No.
Like there can only be one king. You're just you could have two queens. Yeah, that's pretty base. If you're just you're just that one dude who's like, I always need two queens because I'm a pimp like that.
I got to have two queens. I'm
I got
sorry.
I got to have two queens. I need two bitches kissing my ring.
I got the one queen and I got the backup.
That really is the game too. You do have the one queen and you got the back. I think, but then again, I think like if you really did put that player into a position where you have two of your queens on the board, it's like it's over pretty much. Like they're
Oh
fucking
yeah.
up. They're fucking up really bad. That just seems like I don't know. Maybe there's a fucking genius play like like where it's like, oh, you fell for the fake cuckold, like whatever. Like
Well, it depends on who you're challenging. If it's a computer, the computer's going to win every time, which is why I don't play chess anymore because master level the computer is going to beat you. I mean, there's no contest. It's like a mathematical. It's a computer.
yeah, but
We just
all games are like that really. Like all video games and
Yeah. There's
shit.
no point in doing anything. We should just die. Roll over and die.
But you could still play against other people.
Yeah, but then you know that there's always somebody out there better than you, and you're like,
I don't
well,
know.
yeah, we could.
Some things you can be the best. Like even if it's something mad stupid like Super Smash Brothers Melee,
Mm-hmm. Well,
you could.
that's like a party game.
Yeah, but there's some serious like prestigious tournaments for it. I mean,
Oh, aren't they?
I say they're prestigious because some of them like have like cash prizes that pay out like a $10,000 purse or something.
And they'll have like a keyboard and mouse. They like figured out they have an adapter for it. Because those are the only prestigious gaming competitions is the ones with keyboards and mice because controllers are, I guess, they're not as like responsive or something.
Yeah.
Well, I
If
was
you're
like on build a PC for a while, so everybody was telling me like, oh, controllers suck. You have to get a mouse
P-
for every game.
PC
But
Master Race, pretty much.
yeah, well, that's. Portal. I prefer like a controller because it's kind of like a leisurely game that you feel good about solving the puzzles because I've beaten it like many times before. So you know, I'll like not recollect exactly how the puzzle goes, but then I'll just like naturally pick up on like what's going on, and I'll be like, wow, I just solved this insane puzzle. I must be like a genius of some sort. You know,
Well, Portal by default is just a brilliantly constructed game. I mean, everything
both
it's
portals,
what?
both of them, like they're both great games.
Yeah, yeah, they're just designed really, really well, and also the narrative is just genuinely entertaining. Like the script is really fucking funny.
You got Stephen Merchant for the second one. He was great.
Yeah, yeah, and it's basically
Completely.
it really does kind of feel like playing the game. You're kind of like yeah, there's the game element, but the way the script works is kind of like a stand up, but it's like also a story. Like you're getting like one bit. I guess you call them not bits, but they're like beats, right? The story beats, different beats, and they're just like really funny every time.
Yeah, it's a very unparalleled atmosphere as far as gaming is concerned. I haven't played many games, but I would imagine so because I just stopped after the Valve. I bought this Valve package for $50 a couple summers ago, and
And
I
it
was like,
also yeah, it also has that pedigree, right? Because it takes place in the same universe as like Half Life.
yeah. I mean, there's like Easter eggs like peppered out, like throughout, but they're not like very clear about what the narrative is. Like, well, not the
Well,
narrative.
I
Think
know
about
I know the way it is. It's like the company that's one of like it's this corporation that's featured in Half Life. I think they were responsible for developing some like a series of technologies or something that's like integral to the story or whatever. But that company
it.
is like is like the company that you're in Portal. They're basically their corporate testing grounds or whatever or their labs.
Yeah, I think that was just something Valve threw in so that people would like flock to them. Just like
Perhaps.
something unifying all the games that they put out. So people like, oh, if I buy this other Valve game, there'll probably be something there that will allude to the other games I've played, and that will validate my experience.
Oh yeah, I mean we're talking Half Life. Then there's Portal. I feel like there was one more game that also shared their universe, but you know what? Let me pull this shit up since I have access to a computer.
Well, I do too. I mean, but yeah, you do that.
Oh no, it is just Half
The
Life and
Darks
Portal.
from software, like that's the new thing that people are talking about.
Oh, Elden Ring.
Yeah, like Jay would like blow up at me if I
Oh
said
yeah,
that.
yeah, Jay would
I
have a
know the thing.
nerdgasm. Fucking, he would go off on it right now. He'd be like, you should really play this game. It's actually really good.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to hold back from telling him to shut the fuck up.
No, no. I really, really like Jay's voice. That's why I could, I guess I could kind of impersonate it because it just sticks out in my memory. I'm like, and it's not, it's pretty soft, it's nice.
Yeah, it's palatable. Women like it apparently. Well, they say they like it. I know women lie, so
No, they don't. Women, you're telling me women lie. You're telling me women tell lies. You're gonna
you,
sit there.
you'd be surprised, but studies have shown that they're capable of lying.
No, I don't buy it. It doesn't add up.
Hmm.
Yo, um, so how's your diet? Like, do you maintain a healthy diet, or are you like one of those like 20 something year olds that fucking that just don't eat vegetables in like 9 months? Like,
Yeah, I'm pretty much the latter. I mean, I'll try and get some like I'll drink grape juice and I'll be like that's my fruit for the day.
that's
So
good,
like I'm not like a incredibly athletic person or like health conscious, but I think I'm just like have naturally great metabolism and I
dude.
keep like a
Listen,
good
listen.
figure and cardiovascular health. So
The thing about your 20s is your 20s like is an opportunity for you to work on like a lot of your personality flaws before you hit 30 because when you hit 30 that's when it all solidifies and it's impossible to
yeah,
like
it's
change.
like 5'11" versus 6'0". It's like
It's
that.
like it's like your 20s is basically an opportunity to fish like the trash out of the lake before it freezes over and it's there forever, like.
I don't want to think about that.
No,
Crystallization.
it's like you're looking around, you're like, oh, codependency, gotta delete that.
That's something that haven't addressed, but I guess
No, this is I just stole that from a
I'll
stand up I
cross.
was watching
Well,
from
we're all stealing shit. It's fine.
no,
You
I
know.
mean maybe I could maybe someone will check it out or maybe someone will be like it's this Netflix. I don't even fucking remember her name. She was this the special is called fucking Quarter Life Crisis and like it's
Oh,
basic.
Taylor Tomlinson. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's basically just like griping about being a fucking a hot girl millennial talking about like
She
sex and
was
shit. She's
she
got
was
some
one
good
of the
bits.
few new up and coming female comics that I actually appreciated. Like I thought she was she was pretty good and professional about it. And I laughed a few times. I mean, I of course I have like the bias against women. You know, when they're talking about their experience, I'm like, you don't have any idea what my experience is like compared to you. So
uh,
yeah, like that factors in. But like I appreciate like just from like an alien perspective, like I can see like the value in it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought her stage presence was good. She was fucking crushing it, you know. Some of it, yeah, I mean, I could only relate so much being a dude, but I thought some of the shit, the way she put it was pretty funny. Like that 20s bit, I agreed with it. I was like, yo, it's true, you know, because I just hit 30 and I'm like, yep, this
It
is
just
it.
yeah, I mean, it's certainly good advice. I just feel like it's a little defeatist, you know, especially for us who consider. I mean, I'm deluding myself into thinking I'm a late bloomer, and I haven't even begun to peak. So you know, I'll probably reach my prime in my mid 40s. Like I don't want to believe that I'm like almost old yet. So yeah, I guess it's like helpful for some people that need that advice, but like for us that are like consciously deluding ourselves just for the sake of remaining sane,
I
it's you know.
I think what happened for me was like I'm not gonna say I'm like the most accomplished person, you know, like, but I think I try hard. You know, I think I work hard. I guess you
Mhm.
could quote unquote say I'm one of those people who are trying. But like,
Mhm.
I mean, to be honest though, like I think a lot of that motivation comes from the fact that like so many of my friends are just like dying. You know, like I think like in the past few months alone, I had to watch
Oh
like,
Jesus,
yeah, I had to watch like 3 or 4 friends
I
get
lost
buried.
20 friends to H.
Heroin?
No, no, I'm making fun of you by saying that that's what you sound like right now.
Yeah, yeah, no, but it's true. Like, and yeah, it's weird to even talk about because I'm like, dude, like, you know, I've been hitting up my old friends recently from like years ago, and when I meet up with them, they're not doing that well, and then like a couple of months later, they fucking end up dead. And you know, some of my friends naturally, I didn't even think about it, but they would obviously listen to that and they'd be like, "Have you been murdering your friends?" I'm like, "What? No, don't be silly." Like,
Are you killing the dogs?
are you killing the people with your drugs? It's like, no, dude. They get their own drugs. I didn't fucking tell them to do fentanyl and shit. Like,
Fentanyl just sounds bad. Like some drugs, I have no idea how people get into it because, like crack, for instance, like crack is so harsh a sounding word. Like, why would you want to do crack? It sounds unhealthy, just the name alone.
or as the black people call it, brack.
Brack.
I don't know if they really call it that. That might have
That's
been
what
me.
Asians call black people doing crack.
Braku. Braku people.
I missed this. Missed the making fun of Asians.
Asian people. I was Asian in high school.
What do you know?
Oh my god, fucking Erica was like bitching at me because like I told her in the chat I was basically telling them it's like you know what I think I'm gonna try stand up like I don't give a shit I just want to try it like I want to do it it looks fun and they're like she was like Asian jokes and I'm like no she was like don't talk about being Asian and I'm like I'm definitely gonna talk about being Asian and she was like it's so typical.
Well, Erica generally sucks and just wants to make you feel bad about yourself. But I think it was a good point, though. Like, I feel like you're going to come off as like a oh god, who's that? Fuck, my memory is like failing me right now. But there's like this Asian comedian woman who
Oh
she was on Norm's
fucking
podcast.
yeah, but I don't like the way she does it. She's like, you know, her. I guess that's her shtick, right? Her shtick is like she's like an Asian bitch, you know, like stupid whore or whatever. Like I don't
Well,
know.
she'll make a lot of jokes about her family and like do like an Asian impression of her mom, going like "oh," like just making these sounds that Asians, and it's like kind of like a self-deprecating thing, like you know, and she can do the stereotypes, so like why not let her do it if nobody else can? So like I get that, but like that's unspoken, so I don't think people are like actively approving of that. Uh,
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of cheap, but you know, if you want to go for it, then fine. If you can find like a funny, like novel, inventive way to do it, like then yeah, go for it.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I think it was actually pretty fucking. I don't know if it's sad or maybe it might be kind of a good idea. Like I was like thinking about like bits I could do about Facebook, you know, because I remember at one point. You know, especially with all like the post blocks just being like swatted out to people, I was basically saying at one point we should have like a separate Facebook, like an alternate Facebook, basically like it's like a jail book where
Mm.
where you could access it when you're banned, like when you're post blocked on your regular account, and you could only interact with like other people who've been post blocked. So
Mm.
I was saying like,
Yeah, that's
like you,
funny.
yeah, you'd be there, and then they'd be like, and then your cellmate or your friend or your fellow blockmate would be like, you'd ask them, it's like, what are you gonna do when you get out of here? And they'll be like, yo, Holmes, as soon as I get out of here, man, I'm gonna shout out the N word where all my friends and family could see it. And then I would just be like, well, maybe you want to stay away from things that got you here in the first place. And then they would just be like, whatever, Holmes, what are you gonna do, man? And then I would be like, you know what? I'm just when I get out of here, I'm just gonna fucking find my girl, delete my account, start a new one and just start over. And then he's like, when are you gonna realize, man? Guys like you and us, this is it.
Yo, we incorrigible.
This is the end of the road. I realized that maybe it's time you accepted it too. Like
Just talking to some incorrigible guy trying to like take you down with him, like crowd mentality, and you're trying to be a born again citizen. Yeah, that's
yeah,
funny. Yeah, I
on
could see that
Facebook.
working out. I wouldn't do it, but yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Shout out the N word where all my friends and family
Are,
could
are you gonna
fucking.
do the Latino accent?
I don't know. See that
I
maybe
feel like
that's
that's
not
what
a.
sells it.
Yeah, I knew that too. I was actually doing it to myself in the car, like on the drive over, and I had to add the accent because something about prison. I should probably stop right here.
Something about Hispanics, like, pretty much being the only people in jail.
No. Well, I mean, you know what? I look at all the prison movies, right? And they all pretty much tell me that when you go to prison, you quote unquote stick with your own kind, meaning there's going to be like different gangs,
Oh,
You
okay. Here's something I wanted to say. Okay, so in prison movies, there's always a group of Nazis. Like, how long do you think that would survive in like a prison with black people? Like, that's totally unrealistic. Like, all right, so in American History X, for instance, there was like this group of Nazis that the guy wanted to like be in with, and because he was like a Nazi, and then he was like proven wrong or whatever, and it was like very touching tale about how he learned his lesson. But there's a lot of movies like that where there's like, always like a Nazi crew. And I'm like, how does that survive? Like, that doesn't make any sense in the modern world. But yeah,
Yo,
personally, well,
I'm glad you brought up prison movies, by the way, because I just recently saw one on Netflix called Shot Caller. It's like
mhm.
this 2017 movie, fucking featuring starring that guy. I mean, I'm actually looking up his fucking name right now. His name is Nikolaj Coster-Waldau. I mean, all right, you probably wouldn't even fucking know him from his name, but like,
Yeah.
you'd know him by face. Like, you've definitely seen him in shit before. And it was really, it's actually a fucking, it's a pretty good movie. I loved it. It's definitely a dude's rock movie. Like, it
Mhm.
basically starts. This guy's like this mad successful like financier. He's like this big dick finance guy. I think in the city even, and he works like with his like best friend, and like even the wives are friends and shit. And basically, in the beginning of the movie, like they go out to dinner, after like a day of work. It's the four of them, like both him and his work buddy and their wives, and they're talking about white people shit. And like eventually, they and I even noticed this on the second watch too. Like I actually watched it twice. There was a part where they showed you like they were drinking wine and they finished off the bottle, and then they were like, oh, should we order another one? It's like, yeah, why not, we're having a good time. So anyway, they're driving home, they leave the restaurant, and basically this guy is driving hammered and he gets distracted, and then they get into like a fucking, I think it was like a head-on collision. It was a bad car accident. Basically it killed his buddy. He was drunk,
Oh,
he was drinking and driving, they got into an accident, and his buddy fucking died. So he gets sentenced to prison. And this movie is basically about this like straight laced finance guy and his descent to becoming like an Aryan white like
no,
prison
it's like
gang
it's a fish out
member.
of water story.
Yo, it's sick. It's fucking good. I highly recommend it. Um,
Oh, what's it called again?
Shot Caller.
Shot caller.
Yeah, it's fucking sick. It's a good fucking movie. And like he's got like a son and a wife, and she's like this like masculine chinned ass wife. And yeah, it's really it's good. It's good. Especially like
Last mentioned wife. So is she like cheating on him while he's in prison? Is she like here's my shit? And, yeah,
yeah,
is
yeah,
that
yeah.
that's the kind of character? Okay.
Oh my god, fucking that was another thing. Like because throughout the whole movie, you would think he would be more like, "Oh, wait for me. I need your support now more than ever, honey." But he was like, he was really quick to be like, "Nah, nah, like I
Oh,
can't. You just stay away from me." Because like
I like that. Time.
in his eyes, well, first of all, the thing is like his descent began with the realization that there was no way he was going to be able to like serve his time with his hands clean, right? So like because like on the first night he was there, you know, he walks in like Gen Pop, you know, general population with a bunch of other newbies, and
Mm.
this is basically his first night in prison. He basically witnesses a prison rape. You know, like it's lights out. All the dudes are in like one giant room on bunks, and you know like bunch of black guys like gag and like hold this other black guy down, and then like the camera shifts away and you could hear like the cot squeaking and like the guy like struggling like and the main
So
character.
is that like so you said basically not just like he witnessed a prison rape because you
No,
know we
because
don't know for
he
sure.
wasn't really watching. Like he was pretending to be asleep. He was just wide awake, like listening to this shit, and he was like clutching the blanket closer, and he was like clearly miserable, like listening to this like fucking poor man getting fucking prison gang raped, you know. So you know after that he realizes like you know even before that his lawyer even said it's like listen the fact is you're going away for like a violent crime, drunk driving, domestic violence, stuff like that. You're gonna be in the same area in the same population with like murderers and convicted killers and shit. So you know like basically he was just stuck with the worst of the worst, you know. So the
Yeah, the
lawyers
unfairness of that situation, that's relatable, like
yeah
you
the
said.
lawyer says to him basically it's like yo listen they're going to try to like he basically said they're going to try to bitch you out, they're going to try to punk you, and if you let them walk on you it'll never ever stop. So basically like he goes outside, you know, on the first morning there he goes outside to the yard, you know, because like prisoners need exercise too, right? So he
Mhm.
goes outside to the yard and some black dude like some black inmate goes up to him and starts fucking with him, and then he's like and then all of a sudden he flashes back to the words of his lawyer and he just starts screaming out. He's like, ah! And he just starts like you try to beat the shit out of him. And you see like the white Aryan gang members like watching from afar. He's like, fish has got heart, you know. It's like, and then, yeah, and apparently they have their own unique slurs. Like they call the black people in prisons toads. It's like why'd you beat on that toad, you know? Like
Oh, this reminds me of like a movie that I watched a long time ago that had like this guy from the guy from Idiocracy who was watching All My Balls. Like, what the fuck is that guy's name?
oh, I love that fucking doofy ass. I love that. That's what Al my bald. I'm trying to watch Al my bald, and this guy bucking into my apartment. It's so funny.
But yeah,
Yo,
like the proving himself and like having to like
dude,
maintain his ground.
that was a good fucking movie. Wait, so what movie were you talking about?
Let's see. Okay, I'm looking at Idiocracy to find the guy. Dax Shepard, that's his name.
Yo, apparently he's married to like some like hot ass Hollywood bitch that you would never expect.
Hmm. Oh well, I mean he's not a bad looking guy. I mean, and
Wait,
he's
what's
rich.
his
He's an
name?
actor.
Dax Shepard,
Dax Shepard.
wife. Oh, he's married to fucking Kristen Bell. Do you know who that is?
No.
She was in like Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Okay. I
Damn this.
still don't know.
She's in Frozen. Wow, I didn't know that.
Well, Let's Go to Prison is what the movie is called. But it was like an
That is a phenomenal fucking movie.
yeah, yeah, Bob
Holy
Odenkirk.
shit, I forgot about that. That was a good fucking movie. It was so funny. Oh fuck. Was that the one where he's like, would you like some Merlot? I make it in the toilet.
Yeah.
It's a good
And like
fuck.
this like huge like John Coffey looking guy is trying to romance him, and then he
Uh,
eventually like gains the power by being like a
he fuck
dom sub.
he fucking adopts him or something. He becomes his like adopted son. So funny. Too good.
Hmm. I gotta go to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, I'll do that too. Party time. Party time. Holy shit, we could hear this dude fucking pissing. That's so funny. Damn. Does he live in a box? Like, what the fuck? I wonder if you guys could hear me pissing. Shit. I hope you guys like this fireplace backdrop. It's totally just YouTube. Uh, what is it, like 10 hours of burning fireplace? I like it. It's pretty chill.
Okay, I'm back. Just pissed all over the toilet seat.
Good man, my good man. That's how you do it.
In my bathroom, you're aware of my infamous bathroom, aren't you?
No. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
I
girls
forgot.
told
Oh,
me.
wait, I gotta tell you by the way.
Mhm.
Your mighty stream of piss was like definitely 100% caught up in the mic.
What, you could hear that?
Yeah, I heard all of it.
Oh, jeez.
That's
Oh,
why
well.
I'm wondering like if you were able to hear me piss. Like,
I didn't hear you piss.
all right,
I'm
good,
sorry. I'm
good,
sorry, boy.
good,
Sorry,
good.
my son. Your piss is not strong.
Oh, my inferior stream from my inferior dick.
Why do you keep bringing? Don't you gotta accept your dick, man? Like this is getting ridiculous.
I don't talk about it that much.
It's enough. It's enough to be a little like okay.
Well, in
This
Nothing Star, that was my thing. You know what? Because in Nothing Star, it was my thing was this. Like, I would go in that group, and it would just be so much like serious shit, like some crazy, insane drama. Like, oh,
and
I
then you would
want.
like offset it by making some comment about like your Asian small penis.
That's all I did. That's all I would talk about was my small penis, small penis, small penis, small penis. Yo,
You're the comic relief.
Katie Red was fucking shooting heroin in her clitoris on a live stream, and and I
I'm
fucking
bitch.
and I had to, and I was just like, I don't know. I mean, it was just a wild group, man. Just a wild fucking
I
crazy
wish
time.
somebody had recorded that. Like if Ivy was there, he would have recorded all of it. He's a great documentarian.
I guess I wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't really what was on my mind. Really, I was at that point. I didn't have my documentarian instincts finely tuned yet. You know.
Yeah, I guess if you're in that group, you wouldn't have your wits about you anyway. You'd be in like the throes of some drug addiction, so you wouldn't have the wherewithal to record.
Yeah. I mean, I was always pretty good. I remember when I turned
We're still
25.
we're still recording, by the way, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah. We're clocking
Oh,
in at about like
sweet.
out. Yeah, an
All right.
hour and 12 minutes. If we could push it to 2 hours, that's like two whole episodes right there.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's pretty funny. I'm out of booze though. I'm about to crack open like the house wine that nobody fucking touches.
Excellent. Fuck. I'm just recovering from the piss.
From the relief.
Well, it's like it engages like a different part of your body, and so your mind goes down there. It's like why you go crazy when you have an erection. So like I'm pissing mode, so it's like kind of an animalistic.
Goblin mode, pissing mode, all these modes.
I have many modes.
Let's scroll. Let's take a scroll down Facebook. Let's see what's new. What's going on? What are people lying about today? Yo, honestly, I'm in this awesome group called. It's actually my favorite group right now. You are you in unhinged schizo posting?
I don't think so. I might be. Let's see. Unhinged. If I were, Jay probably would have been the one to add me.
Nah, I think I added Jay. I love this group, dude. It's like my
Yeah.
favorite fucking shit.
No, I'm not in there.
I'll add you.
All right. Jay added me like I don't know if you're aware of like a disabled dating group, right?
Yeah, I think I added him to that. Or no, we probably got into that together, but or I
That's
post.
that's funny for like a day, and then now I'm still in the group, and I'm just seeing really sad posts every day.
Well, I mean, I kind of love it though because like, oh god, it's so bad. 'Cause I can't. All right, I gotta articulate this. So basically, I'm in the group, and like half of the fucking group is just people there to laugh at disabled people try to date, and the other half are disabled people who are just constantly like paranoid. They're like, "This is a scam. You're a scammer." I guess their idea of a non-disabled person is like they're there for scamming. Okay, because the popular running
You would think they
narrative
would
is like,
leave, but they're too disabled to realize it.
yeah,
They
the,
should
the
just leave.
running narrative there is you have non-disabled girls getting on there trying to get with disabled men so they could scam them out of their fucking disability pensions, so they call them all scammers. They're like, you're not disabled, you stupid fucking filthy whore. You're just trying to get me for my disability check.
Oh man, probably like 20% of the people that are actually disabled. Well, I guess like in a way, all of us are disabled. Just to put a universal note on it. But yeah, there's probably not many actually disabled people there because like the people that are posting, they're literate at least. Like, they know how to get on Facebook and post this. But
Yeah.
maybe they had to be, this is like a process of years that they had to figure out how to like open the browser and then Facebook and then get on disabled dating group and post their selfie. Hello, I'm disabled. Anybody want to date me? Like,
I
what's the
guess
likelihood
that's when you
of
reach
it?
like a new low of trolling when you go on disabled dating group just to fucking.
Yeah, yeah, I'm trying to avoid that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. Like Jay just has no fucking, he has no scruples whatsoever. Yeah, that's the right way to put it. Like, I'm trying to develop scruples to make myself a better person. But
Damn. So since like the thing is recording the screen too, I wish I could just scroll down like unhinged schizo posting, but I kind of don't want to. Like, I don't want to show people this group because a lot of this content is like really um
I mean, like from the looks of it, it looks like a lot of it is going to be intentionally ironic or whatever.
wait,
So
are
like,
you in it already?
um, let's see. No, I mean, aren't you going to add me?
Wait, hold
Uh,
on.
I'm just like going by the header image here.
Wait, hold on. You got to accept my I don't think you have my sock account added. Did you do it?
I still haven't joined. Well, let me refresh. Oh no, that would like interrupt the call. Um, I mean, do I have to like press join and then you approve?
No, no, you got to accept my friend request first.
I'm looking at my notifications and it's not there. I'm just gonna go on my phone. I think I have
Wait,
to.
are you on Are you on Cain? Are you not Cain Martell on Facebook?
I'm on. Yeah, I'm Kane.
All
That's me.
right. I have no doubt that I shall be slowly bored to death.
I don't know what to change it to. It's just that's what it is. I feel like Hunter x Hunter is, I mean, it's Kino.
Kino.
It's half Kino, half entry level. So it's like my way of, reaching every demographic.
It's Kino centric, is what it is. You know.
It unites. It's a uniting thing, and also it's kind of like,
Yo, all right. So just remind me next time you say the N word, like, because the first recording is is only like, I don't know, what is it, less than an hour, but this time it'll be a pain in the ass to try to like fish out exactly when you said it. So you gotta like we
I only
gotta
said it just because we're on that topic, but yeah, I won't say it. Okay.
we gotta timestamp it. So, okay, now we're friends. So I'm going to go to unhinged schizo posting, and I'm going to add you. And I like this stuff because I mean, if you were to just post this shit like in like word format, you would definitely get like flagged or you'd be put on some kind of list. But since it's in images, the algorithm doesn't pick it up in the same way.
Hmm.
Like, let me try to find a good one. Let's see here.
Yeah, it's like a comedic twist at the same time because you're like getting away with being a terrorist, cyber terrorist.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I have to
Oh
fucking.
my god, this one's good. Me when I watched the 12-year-old child realize the door to my basement wasn't locked and that he didn't need to cannibalize his two friends in a desperate attempt for survival.
Hold on, like on my phone right now. I didn't hear that. What?
Oh, it's all good.
I'm not gonna make you repeat it. I'll just like find it.
No, they heard it. That's what counts.
Yeah, I'm sure it was obnoxious. No politics,
Actually,
no.
this
No, you
this looks
actually have
pretty
to be
whack
funny.
right now.
Oh, I have to be funny. Oh shit. No politics on either side. You actually have to be funny here. So what do I say? Give me something funny to say.
I do like to repost a lot of the shit here because This is funny. Like the deepest desire of every pit bull owner is to see their pit bull maul someone and gaslight them about the attack as it literally happens.
I like that because it's actually purveying the sentiment that like pit bulls are unsafe.
Yeah.
And yeah, I want to work against that because they aren't. I mean, they're bred to kill.
That's why I like them, dude. I mean, people are like so pussy. They're like, oh, like pit bulls, they'll maul your face off. I'm like, damn straight. That's what they're fucking built to do, bro. They're built to fucking.
I thought you were the king. Where's the logic here? The king hides behind the cowardly, but now you're brave with a pit bull all of a sudden.
Well, I wouldn't like use my pit bull. I wouldn't weaponize my pit bull unless, of course, I had like a pack
Hello?
of them. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would weaponize pit bulls if I had like a pack of them, and then I'd call myself like the Beast Master.
Just walk around the neighborhood. They'd be like the local character. Like my ex told me about this guy in Austin who was like he was known for being famously homeless, and I was like, so like everybody knows this guy and like says hi to him and stuff, but like nobody helps him out with money. He's just like this well-known, famous like guy who's just going through a terrible time in his life, but people see him as like a clown.
He's just one of those characters. He's an ornament, of the community.
Yeah, yeah, lowers the property value and lifts your spirits.
Uh-huh.
I just had to wait to be approved. I said, I'm not putting anything funny there. I think they'll respect the fact that I just put a question mark.
Yeah, I just said. I think I said I fuck waffles and just click send.
I fuck waffles.
Oh,
Yeah,
this is
I guess that's funny. I don't even know what's funny anymore.
this
That's
is
just
funny. This is a screenshot from Poll. It's like, why hasn't anyone ever seen a pregnant Chinese lady? Yet there's so many Chinese in the world.
I actually saw one. I
Yeah,
saw,
yeah, me too. It's like absurd. It's like okay, like
but they don't really look pregnant. Like the thing, they just look like they have like worms or something. Like the rest of their body remains thin, and then they just have like a pregnant belly, and you're like, do you have like a disease? I don't want to mention it. Yeah, maybe you don't want to talk about it. I'm not trying to bring
oh,
it
I
up.
got it. I got it. I've created over half a dozen different fake identities to follow a girl I've had a crush on since high school. Some of them follow her on Instagram, some on Facebook, Snapchat, etc. Through simple observation and direct communication with her through these puppet identities, I've also managed to find where she works. Her various usernames across Steam, Reddit, etc. as well. The personalities range from made up prospective employers, relatives of hers who didn't have accounts already, and fabricated identities of people from her university. One of the personalities is a girl who I've used so much that she, my crush, seems to genuinely think of this girl as a close friend. She messages my puppet account multiple times a day without any provocation, just to chat. I want to so badly drop my real name in passing just to see if she even remembers who I am, but I can't risk blowing my cover, and I'm afraid that she'll respond with, Who? After all, we graduated high school 7 years ago, and I haven't spoken to her as myself since. So why would she remember who I am?
Well, who fucking cares? This is such a mundane and elaborate story. Jesus Christ! Like they're not even trying to be entertaining. That might be real. I don't know.
That's why I think it's real, like, because it's so this guy's actually just a major psycho. I think this I don't know, I don't really see like as much of those psychos, in living in a city. I feel like I could see that happening more so in like a country or a more rural area where like there's just less shit to do. Although the trade off is in cities, I see more people acting like outwardly fucking insane, like outwardly fucking crazy.
Yeah, drowsy crazies. I mean, they'll be accepted there. There's usually a support group or something, or they'll be celebrated. Like, all right, so who, for instance, besides the Jews,
The Jews, the
is that Jew,
peoples, the chosen people.
the jewelry of Europe?
The jewelry of Europe. That's good. I like that. God, I could go. You know what? I have so much to like. I have so many experiences with Jews because of the close proximity in which I work near them. Fuck, man, it would definitely take up more than like an episode. Like,
Well, that's good. We have a theme now. To hate on Jews, and I feel like
oh
that.
nah, we can't make that the theme, man.
What of an episode?
Oh, of an episode, like one whole episode just dedicated to hating Jews. Like,
Yeah, it would kind of coincide with the current theme, but like it would just be like a subcategory. We don't have to like dwell on it. Nor would I want to. I mean, like I don't know.
for sure.
I think it's just kind of like a tired subject for me, but
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
just
yeah. No, I agree. I mean,
as Jay talks about it all the time, and I'm just like, I feel like I just want to be a devil's advocate and like criticize like his points just out of principle for the listener, consideration to the listener. Like, just find a new thing to talk about. Like,
yeah,
but
he
no,
just
like that, like
definitely.
the Orthodox Jews, that would be like an interesting spin. That'd be a good twist on it.
Oh my god, dude! Because yeah, that's like a whole different. We're talking about a very nuanced culture here. Like these people have a way of living. Like for sure, 100%. That's not just like kind of like a secular form of Judaism. Like these people really practice their shit, and as a result, they develop like a lot of tendencies that's like observable. Like especially when they like within close proximity of their own people, so condensed, so many of them at once.
Hmm.
Especially like with their driving, you could see a lot of unsavory things, and yeah, who am I, the Asian guy, to criticize in other
What are they doing?
cultures?
Like eating falafel while they're driving?
I don't know, man. They're just it's like stopping in the middle of the fucking street, like random U-turns, or like like you'll be behind a car and the light just turned green, like not even half a second, and they'll start honking at you from behind, like shit like
Hmm.
that. They're just like
They're
really.
abiding by the old rules dictated by the Torah regarding traffic. They don't want to subscribe to our rules, so
What
we
what
have to
what does
respect
the
their,
Torah say about traffic? Like
we have to
traffic in.
respect their. I never read the Torah. I told you I don't read books, so I don't know. But yeah, it would be.
I read
They
six
want
books
us
a
to
day.
respect.
I read 6 books a day.
I like Brandon Wardell.
Yeah.
Do you like him?
Who?
Brandon Wardell, the comedian.
I never heard. Is he good? Is his stuff good? Like what's his shtick?
Well, his shtick is he's like kind of a Twitter comedian, I guess. That's what the YouTube comments say, anyway. They say that he makes, I guess it's like one-liner comedy is what people would say, but like he draws them out into stories occasionally. Like the one I only I only laughed at one thing, which was the friends throwing like kind of a pseudo bachelor party for a guy after he gets out of a relationship. Like, you gotta go fuck pimp or whatever. But like the way he said it was funny. Like he had like a whole delivery, and he got into falsetto with it, and that's funny sound.
The falsetto, castrato.
Dude, I fucking hate everything. Like, but I want to do stand up because I feel like this is one of the things before I became just like a total monster. Like one of the things that was seems genuinely interesting to me. And,
I mean, yeah, like honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I didn't respect stand up, but then it's just I don't know, maybe it's just where I'm at in life, or I just have these thoughts and like I don't know. I feel like it would just be a nice creative outlet instead of just like simmering in my like rampant cynicism, it just
yeah,
drives me to like dark places where my only coping mechanisms are fucking White Claws and smoking weed. Like I feel like this will allow me to like get it out, but in a way where cuz like I feel like the shit you say in a stand up, people kind of have this like agreement with the performer that they're like you're kind of you're not free to regularly say all this offensive shit, but it's part of the
like,
show. It's
mhm.
so like if you were to say some of this shit in like I don't know, in a social setting, people would think you're a fucking psychotic mess, but if you say it on stage with a microphone, apparently it's okay. Like you could say the same shit. It's just, now you have a
Well, I
mic.
mean, that's like kind of that's the romantic aspect of it. It's a dark, chaotic kind of thing. But I think a lot of, I mean, the things that comedians will say on stage, like I feel like in like their friend groups at least, they would be demonized. I don't think they would be exiled for saying these things. Like, especially without, I don't want to like harp on cancel culture because I don't think it's as serious as people make it out to
Yeah,
be.
yeah, me no, yeah. That's what I was also trying to avoid saying because, like I said, I think comedy is still a good outlet. Like I don't think cancel culture really pervades to the extent where I can't even tell jokes anymore. It's like you can still do it. Just
Yeah, look at Louis.
I mean, one of the fundamentals I feel like of good stand up is like, you could talk about whatever the fuck you want, right? You just probably shouldn't be like we talked about this before, like don't be unlikable. I mean, you can and
Well,
some people do it successfully, but it's like you got to deal with more bullshit, like after the show people will come up to
it's
you.
it's like upping the difficulty level, so it makes it kind of like an elite class of like Seinfeld, for instance, he's not very likable, but he still manages to make his comedy successful. And I don't think that's just due to the fact that he's Jewish and he had connections. Like,
Nah, dude.
yeah, he has to be consistent. He has to be consistently funny to be,
I
that.
think Seinfeld was fucking. I think Seinfeld was a likable guy on stage. I mean, not the things he said may not have been likable, but it was like,
Because they're considered smug and arrogant, but they come from like a privileged perspective. So
yeah, yeah. But all right, you know what? You know what also attributes to relatability, likability? I would say relatability. So if you could even, even if you could be like a snobbish guy, if you could at least like say what everyone else is thinking, like then you pretty
or
much.
come up with something that you can offer them that besides snobbery and making them feel bad. But like you wouldn't survive very long as a stand-up if that was all you did. So
I
I
heard
feel like
another good trick though is like facts. Like you start off with like a bit of like information, like, oh, here's a fun fact. Like, did you
it
know?
is, yeah, it's kind of a power trip. So like trick morons into believing what you say by saying like, oh, here's some facts you can
Yeah.
look up online. And they're like, oh, this guy must be, he must know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
There's no way he could lie, after saying a fact.
oh yeah, I would love to do that. Just go on stage and just like tell things that are completely untrue as if they are completely true. Like,
Did you know octopuses can walk on two legs?
Did you know that you could fertilize your lawn with old motor oil? Like,
Well, that's like an old one that like or
yeah, that was from Fight Club. It's really I was just rewatched it too, and that was part of the gag. That was one of the Project Mayhem. It's just a prank, bro. Moves they did. They fitted a.
well, it sounds like you disrespect comedy so much. You're like equating it to Fight Club. That like, why would you want to be a comedian? Just to,
I wasn't equating it to Fight Club, but
well,
that
like the
was.
Project Mayhem, like that same ethos of like chaotic evil. Like,
Hmm. True. True. You got a point. You got a
yeah,
point.
well, I still want to do it though because I want people to perceive me as funny. Like I want that to be my identity and for people to see me that way. Like,
Then you could do it, brother. You know what? Also, another thing that made me appreciate it more is once you actually go out and like you seek insight and knowledge, and like how it works, and you kind of learn that there's like a structure to it. And by now I would say, like, I don't know why, I guess I just expected it, so I knew right away I could go out and research like what is the structure of a set, like what are some of the techniques used to like to keep a cohesive like cadence with your delivery, and like going from topic to topic, and like how you set things up and stuff like that. So I that learning that stuff makes you like really, because once
learn
you
the successful formulas. Yeah,
yeah, and
that's
once
why
you
I would
learn
like.
that, you watch other people's performances, and then you see the good ones when they do it. They're like, oh shit, that's what they're doing. So I guess you could. It's kind of like listening to like old fucking music. Whereas if you're educated, I guess, about the context of it, like when it was made, you're like, oh, I could appreciate this more because I know the guy who wrote this went to school in this European whatever academy where so many prestige
Mhm.
whatever.
It's like something Ricky Gervais would say, like, we all know we're intellectually inclined people. We're all from academia, so that's why, like, we're laughing at the irony. We're not laughing at the joke itself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of like imposing this pretension on it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, like, yeah, successful form. That's why I wanted to, like, emulate comedians. That's why I mentioned that earlier in the chat, is that I think emulating, like, successful comedians is a good starting point. Because, like, I mean, just going, like, breaking it down like you are, like, I mean, it seems like it's gonna go a long way before you find like, there's a lot of trial and error involved. Like look at your predecessors to see like what works and what doesn't.
Hells yeah. You have to kind of you gotta respect the legends, the greats, because they came before you. They basically paved the road for you. And
You know,
it's
we're
up to
standing on
you.
their backs, the giants.
Yeah, and it's up to you to take that road as they laid it down, and then I guess you could expand on it or whatever way you want to put it. I don't fucking know.
Mm.
Yeah, but
Maybe like a regular segment could be like we look at comedy and like make fun of it or dissect it. Like, that's something that Come Town does. So that's something that like it pissed me off earlier was, but it was for good reason. It was like a healthy pissed off that Eric had brought up the fact that I was talking about coons and saying like Obama's wife probably called him a coon after he left the office. Like, because she was probably so incredulous that he had like gotten the presidency. She was like giving him blowjobs left and right. And afterwards, like, I can't believe you let me give me such head, you fucking old washed up nigga. But
Oh my god, timestamp that. We're at hour and 33 minutes. All right. Like,
Oh god. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. We can't say it again.
No, I'll just put it down.
Well, there was no there was no er. I mean,
Yeah, all right,
this
fine.
is a
You
cool
know
way.
what? Maybe we'll give that a pass. Like, all right.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah.
Wait. So what was Erica criticizing you
Well,
about? It kind of broke up there a little bit.
yeah. Because okay, so I was saying like she probably called him a coon amongst other things, just to berate him for not having the presidency anymore. And he was probably yeah. So it's like all downhill for him from here. And she said that I got it from. She said something like somebody watched Come Down today, and I was like, well, I hadn't, but I'm like vaguely aware of the fact that they have like a bit regarding coons.
You know what?
And
That makes me think more. That means she watches it or she
yeah,
listens
and
to it. Like whatever, watches it. That means she's into it,
mhm.
which is interesting because I don't know, like whatever. Yeah, I can't believe this is their last like year of doing it. They're gonna be done.
Really? What? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, yeah, fucking. They're gonna. This is their last run, and I think the show's gonna end.
It makes sense. Nick has been getting like pretty, nihilistic. Past couple of episodes I watched, he was just saying things about like I can't even, think anymore. I can't come up with a single thought, and I'm just pacing around my house all day, and I feel like I'm destroying myself with this stuff. And I, I kind of like I get that. Like I understand. Like I mean, he probably went into it with like this career based mindset. Like I'm just gonna do this, go in day out and be a professional about it. And then you like lose the love for the craft that drew you to it, and it's very sad. Like I feel like this happens to anybody who gets into a career where
He made a lot of fucking money, to be honest. Like,
he did. Yeah. So it's something to aspire towards because it works evidently. Like, but
yeah,
I don't know. Like yeah,
yeah,
it's a
true,
somber.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's funny though because I got into first of all Come Town recently because I wanted to do a podcast. I started with the other one I do with the whole like the rave scene shit. Just to fucking set that up. I was
Mhm.
doing my homework and I really liked Come Town. It was just really nice. It was relaxing. Like because like for me like it was kind of better recently than listening to music while driving because music was just pissing me off. I was like I don't fucking feel like listening to music, so I would listen to Come Town. And yeah, I just I at the time I sought after the podcast thing because like really I realized I was doing all of this because I just needed to just get the shit out because like I noticed I was alienating a lot of my old friends. Like like people like I haven't hung out with in years. I would reach out to them again because you get old and you're like fuck. I realize a lot of my friends died, so I should probably take account of the friends I do have. Maybe reach out to them while I still can, and then
Mhm.
I do, and then maybe it was like being on the fucking internet for so long and it just poisoned my ability to relate to like old friends on like a more like, personal, local level. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah,
It's, yeah.
I just try to talk to them about shit. And sometimes like I would like fucking accidentally like offend them, like saying some fucked up shit and, like, or like I would just give like a really, really cynical outlook about something, and then they're just like, "Why do you got to frame it like that?" And I'm like, "Damn it, man! Like you're right. I shouldn't. I don't know. I don't know how else to be right now." And I feel like if I
No,
had,
I totally get that. Yeah, I relate to that a lot,
and I feel
actually.
like if I had the fucking podcast, and if I could even just do stand up, just for that, like I feel like I would have less of it in me, so I would alienate like less of my friends, like so I wouldn't be as like fucking psychotic around them and
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what if this psychotic version of you is the new you? This is like the evolved version of you that.
Oh, that
Yeah,
sounds. I mean, that sounds horrible because like none of the shit I say is really happy. Like none of it. I don't really have anything like
yeah, but
nice.
like, well, what are you gonna do? Go back to what you were? And it's regressive. Like, how do you, like, having experienced this? Like, how do you go back?
You can't.
I
That's
mean,
why.
I understand what you're saying. Like, if I were to reach out to my friends right now, my old friends in high school, like, I wouldn't relate to that. I would have no idea what to say, even like, because I know like a lot of the things I would say would be come off super dark
Yeah.
to them, and it would just they'd be like, "Wow, you really fell off the deep end," and I would just be like, "Oh, well, yeah, maybe you're right." And then I would start to doubt myself. But like, you have to develop this tough, kind of cynical outlook on life if you want to survive and be be competent in this kind of field. And I don't think it's necessarily damaging if you understand like what the extent of the effects are. If you accept like what it's going to do to you in the long run, and if you can be okay with that.
Yeah, I didn't mentally get here because I just want to be here. It kind of just happened because like you see like bad things happen not just to you, but to people around you, over and over again, and eventually you start to realize, I don't know, like at the risk of like sounding too fucking black pilled, it's just
Mm.
I don't know, because like maybe chicks have a harder time understanding like the inherent meaninglessness of life and how ultimately nobody really gives a fuck about you and that you could die and the world would keep turning and it doesn't really fucking matter. But you know what?
I don't think they really understand mortality.
But I don't think that's a dark thing for me, like I don't think it's dark when I think about it because to me that's really liberating. Like I see the positives in that. Like yeah, that's good. I don't
Well, I
fucking
mean,
matter. Like I could do whatever the fuck I want, like
it's well, yeah, exactly. I mean, you want to know more, right? I mean, what are you going to do? Like make yourself ignorant on purpose? Just, I mean, there's value in that because if you preserve yourself as like this kind of untainted being, then there's something that you can offer that you wouldn't really think to offer in like the corrupted post world state.
yeah.
So. Yeah, so but, like that's where I think Seinfeld exists, and like I hate to bring it, but I really love this guy, like this comedian. Like he puts it in a way that like Louis said it, like he said that he was like a virtuoso, but I think this kind of mentality can only develop in like an isolated, sheltered environment, and that's a precious thing. That's something that you want to. It's not something to demean or like make fun of because
It's
like oh well they don't know as much as me because I know the world and how the world works. I don't think that's like necessarily a good thing that you know more if the things that you know are limiting you.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if it's like it's basically trauma, like compartmentalized trauma, and kind of have to
Mhm.
just live with it. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, it's not like there's much you could do to avoid it, especially now. I mean, it's in the past, so.
It's pretty much what you said before. Like you really do just have to keep ways to stimulate yourself, and I find like the simplest way to do that is just keep learning new things. So another thing, like I'm just used to trying out like at this point, like because I've done enough stupid fucking shit in my. I try to. I mean, I'm still sticking with it. Like I fucking do this Japanese sword shit. I'm still in that. I'm in
Mhm.
pretty deep. I got to do this fucking. I'm doing this DJ bullshit. I'm not DJ, and it's all pretty cringe shit. But I wanted to do it, and I know if I. It's I
Well,
know. Yeah, even if it doesn't.
it'd be cringe if I did it. Let's put it that way.
I guess you could look at it that way. There's like that. There's like that cool factor. I forgot who kept telling me they were like, oh yeah, the Koreans are the fancy Asians.
They're fancy. I thought Japanese were the fancy Asians.
Yeah, I was like
The
that.
Koreans were like they're like the Canada of Japan.
Yeah, I could. Koreans are definitely like the peasants. Like they're the peasant Asians.
Well, I think Vietnamese, maybe, or India, if we're going with like technically Asia, but I think we're just talking about East Asia here. So yeah, probably Vietnamese or Laotian
Yeah,
would be the peasants. But well, not Philippines. Is that part of East Asia? Like
yeah, I would say South Asia more like.
South Asia, huh? The Mexico of Asia.
Yeah, dude, if you really do like fucking an open mic, do you have someone to record it for you?
What I could get somebody. Yeah, I
You should. You should have it recorded. If it's and then if it doesn't suck, I guess we could post it on the fucking YouTube that we haven't made yet.
yeah, that would be a good idea. Um, it's really, I mean, as I said earlier, it's like very hard to expose yourself to that kind of criticism. Like, I mean, like this. I mean, this is just. I mean, I can't even see
Actually, you know
you.
what? You're right. You're right. I would say that's probably for a later down the road.
I don't like I appreciate that you're giving me encouragement because I do want to do this and I have wanted to do this for a while and I've been putting it off and giving myself excuses. So yeah, I should do it. We should
Oh
both do it.
no, dude, I totally respect and appreciate your reasons and like because more than mine anyway. Like I'm just doing it as like as a way to get out of doing like taking fucking therapy. Like
Um, I genuinely see it as recreational. Like I think there's I don't think all comedy has to be like coming from trauma. Like I think you could just be, you know, I'm not drawing a blank on the word here.
yeah,
Uh,
I'm just trying to avoid that like really depressive social like alienation from everybody and I just like fall off the face of everybody's lives and eventually just become like a fading ghost of a memory. And it's like,
I think it's because you hit 30 and now you're thinking about all this. Like you're,
of
it's
course,
basically.
dude. Of course, that's fucking why. Like, absolutely,
I
hundred
mean,
percent.
like how stupid are humans that we see like the first digit in the number change and we're like, oh fuck, my whole life is different now.
Well, to be fair, I've been feeling like this since I turned like 27. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna be 30 soon. Fuck, I'm gonna be 30 soon. Now it's like, fuck, I'm 30.
That
Like,
sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's how I feel certainly right now. I mean, like somewhat.
yeah,
I'm still trying to keep some optimism in my life. Like I want to. I want to like try and be funny and not be like overly depressing and dark. But well, I mean, if that would be like one thing I could do, but I don't want that to define me or control me. You know.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Fuck, I gotta figure out where I'm gonna keep this, where like the three of us could access it. I wonder if Jay is also available yet. Let's find out.
It's real talk hours.
Oh yeah, real talk hours. I wonder if that affects it, like the vibe of the podcast, depending on the hours. Like if it's like nighttime, you'll be in like a different vibe.
I mean, I generally function better at nighttime anyway, so this is the vibe you can expect. Well, hopefully a better vibe. I'm just coming out of a pretty. Well, I don't want to like. I don't want to pity myself, but I just got out of like a pretty traumatic experience that, for me anyway. Like for somebody else, maybe not, but I'm. I haven't experienced much hardship, so
At least you're honest about it.
yeah, at least I'm honest. I feel like saying it out loud actually helps me, accept it. So yeah, it is like therapy. This at least.
Yeah. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna see if anyone wants to maybe jump in, and we'll either like
That'd be
just
fun. Yeah, we need like a yeah. We need Jay to come in.
yeah. I'm gonna see if anyone's down. Dude, some nights in the chats are just like really, really what's the word? Hectic. And it's funny because it's just like words on a screen, but these people like are really just spiraling out.
Yeah, well depending, I don't know. Like I've limited the amount of chats that I'm in. Like, usually the chats that I'm in are the ones that I moderate and admin. So I've like cultivated a sort of like a sterile environment for myself where I can't get damaged. So I don't know what chats you're in where that's happening, but like WAP chat, that's something they re-added me to recently. It's
WAP chat without papers chat.
hmm.
Now it's the COVID chat.
I like the COVID chat better. It's more topical,
That
sure.
is that is the WAP chat. It's the
Yeah, I know they changed it. Yeah.
yeah WAP chat. Imagine if Scorp got on. That would be so funny.
Dude, from his voice messages, I feel like I don't know. Like he writes better than he speaks. So like his way of telling stories would be very stilted. And well, it'd be interesting to have him on though. Yeah, I want to see like his how his humor will play off.
Oh yeah, he would be a character for sure. For sure.
Most definitely.
Have you been? Do you game at all or nah?
Just the Valve games.
Yeah.
I used to play Dark Souls like when I had a console. So that was back when I had friends,
Nice.
and I would have like somebody to talk about it with.
We gotta
I
try
mean,
to we gotta try to get fucking podcast money and buy video games. Spend it all on fucking video
that's what I'm hoping this helps me with.
games.
Well, I don't know. Like
I mean, it's probably presumptuous to expect any money from it. I mean, I don't mind. I'm still enjoying it. I think if anything, it's just it helps my craft and other things. It helps me like with understanding more of like how podcasts work and like I guess you know just and plus I get to talk to my buds. It's always fun.
yeah, I'm certainly deriving some value out of it. Like this, I wouldn't know what to do with myself at this hour if I weren't doing this. Like, I'll I'll stoop to talking to Ed. Like, I'll talk with him for like 4 hours at night.
That's when you know you're down bad. It's like, oh, gotta
Yeah,
talk to Etienne.
Yeah, because he's the only one willing to. Like he's willing to talk to anybody for any length of time.
That's crazy. He's crazy.
I feel like people like I don't know, like they it was because he was like a pedophile, and I heard that about like I was like this guy. There might be something to this guy. It's weird. Like
He might be worth knowing, you know?
the pedophile thing. That's interesting. There's maybe it's pretty provocative. I want to get to know this guy. I want to see why. I want to see why.
I don't have a pedophile friend, you know?
Yeah, like I'm nearing 30. Let's live a little.
Uh,
But he seems like a relatively normal guy compared to people's depictions of him. Like he's certainly not well adjusted when it comes to relationships. Like he's a born simp. He's never getting out of that.
I wonder how he became like that. Is he from Portland? It's Portland. It's definitely
Hmm.
Portland.
Yeah, well, I think he might just he there's like many years of alcoholism just made him paranoid and squirrely.
Oh, hells yeah.
And I'm afraid of getting that way myself. Like that's why I've stopped drinking. And well, it was the most recent incident that made me want to stop. But
Oh yeah.
I'm afraid of picking it up again in a few months.
Drinking?
Yeah, it's like a recurring thing. Like I'll have 3 month periods where I'll stop and then I'll pick it up again because I'm bored and I'll just be like, it wasn't that bad that last time. Like, you didn't quit for any particular reason. Like, I'll conveniently forget why, and it's just a way to get myself to, you know, destroy myself. It's like a constant cycle of destruction and rebuilding. Because once I rebuild it, like, where do I go? What do I do?
You got to get out of there, man. I think a change in environment would do you good.
Out of where?
Out of your city, like move to a better place with better people to talk to.
Yeah. Well, this is the internet, so we can talk to anybody around the world. So like,
Aw, see, that's like, that's when it doesn't really, is that really a proper substitute, honestly?
you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Like, there's nothing like a stroll through the park with your friend playing Pokemon Go.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. You get to do activities with friends. You get to go shoot some pool. You get to go bowling.
You
You
get to
get
go
to.
try and get some women, then fail.
Nah, I
But
don't
then
think.
at least you tried.
I don't know how like people ever think they could successfully go out as a group to quote unquote pick up bitches. It's like it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try to get with this girl, but I got like a pack of my boys following me, and yeah, that's. I mean,
Uh,
I don't know. It just doesn't really seem. It doesn't seem like. I guess
I
maybe I'm.
think maybe honesty is something that millennials aren't really into, but I feel like it would be conducive to like better humor and like actually being more creative if we were to just address like these inspirations. Like if we just say like, "Oh, Lucy Kay made this joke," so it would be like informational too. It'd be because like that was from his hilarious special, where like guys go out in packs of nine wearing the same striped shirt and like hoping to find like what a pack of nine girls, and they just all mash together in the same configuration.
That's a good joke.
Like my memory is like it's astoundingly good when it comes to comedy, so
No, that was a pretty good bit. I liked it. I liked
it's
it.
selective.
But yeah, he does have a point. I mean, it is kind of fucking weird, man. I think I've always had better
It is
success with girls on a one-on-one context, you know, because I don't know.
because you can corner them in order for them to escape.
It's like they don't have any, they don't have any immediate help around.
Like Dennis Reynolds said, "Where are you gonna go? There's nowhere to go."
Where are you gonna
So,
go?
you know, can I come in your room? I'm gonna come in your
I'm just gonna invite myself. Can I use your bathroom?
room.
Oh man.
I wonder if that like Larry David did something like that on Curb, where he would like it was he was looking for a place to go to the bathroom, and like everybody in his neighborhood was denying him, except for this one Muslim lady who he like initially like upon seeing her burqa was like, okay, forget it, I'm just gonna go away, and she was like, no, no, come in, yes, you can use my bathroom, and then they developed a friendship. So life be weird sometimes.
Dude, if that happened to me, I would seriously consider just like converting to Islam because I would be like, dude, the one person who treated me like a fucking human being was just this Muslim lady in a fucking burqa. Classic.
This Muslim retard who knows nothing.
uh, these people are so dumb, they're kind.
I don't know. Sometimes kindness can come from wisdom, and it's also appropriate in certain situations. I got to refill my flask here. I'm drinking like Sam Hyde out of his giant water bottle.
Mm, staying hydrated, I see. It's better than chugging down whatever you were drinking. What did you drink when you had your episode?
So four Natty Daddies and one Four Loco and one Mad Dog on average a night.
Dude, that's fucking insane. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's why I fucking freaked out and jumped out the window. I was not. It was ill advised. Yeah.
Mm,
So maybe I do it myself on purpose because I know like I can't moderate drinking. So it's like let's just go all out and then fuck ourselves over, and then we'll have like a moment of realization where I gotta change my shit, and then relapse 3 months later because we realize that life is just the same. Like, well, why did we even go? Why did we even drink in the first place? Because it's fucking boring. I want to give myself like a depressant so I have something to fight against.
oh my god, dude, this is getting bad. So I made this post before. It was like I just came up with this. I made up a bit. I was like,
Hmm.
it's weird sometimes when you're an Asian guy, when you have sex with like non-Asians, because some girls will say some like really offensive shit, like, "Oh, hey Chris, I'm glad the stereotypes aren't true," and I'm like,
Oh,
you just insulted my whole fucking my whole race and shit. And I think Jimmy O Yang put it like this specifically. I said it a little differently, but he was like, oh, but thank you, for having sex with me, knowing that I might have a small penis. Like,
thank you. I very much appreciate that.
yeah, it's offensive as shit, but thank you.
I mean, isn't it like true though? Like,
Okay, and someone commented. They were like, as a guy with a disability, I gotta say it would suck if this happened to me because I couldn't just get up and put my clothes back on and leave. Because it's not like I have a car or anything. I'd need to depend on the partner, like I always do. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, what the fuck?
how did you even get into that situation in the first place? Did you like fake a disability, like fake being normal, like walking on robotic legs up until you get into bed,
Yeah,
and now you have like no legs and shit? How do I get out of this situation?
yeah.
Because if she realizes she just had sex with a guy with no legs, she's gonna claim rape. But how's that gonna hold up in court? This guy with no legs raped you.
uh, I wonder what that's like. It's probably kind of fun in a sick and twisted way,
To what?
to do it with like a person with no legs.
Oh, well, I thought you meant like just. Well, yeah, I don't. I wouldn't like that personally because I just wouldn't want to look at the legs. If I'm desperate enough, maybe because the vagina is still there and it's not like their skin is blemished or anything. Yeah, certain angles would be, that I wouldn't want to. It would interrupt my experience. But
I
like,
wonder if it's like the guy that's got no legs and like the girl's just on top. I wonder if it kind of feels like riding on a boogie board like sitting on a surfboard or something. You know?
yeah, it's like going down the lazy river.
Yeah,
Well, no, that's not the right position. Yeah, boogie board would probably be more accurate.
boogie board for sure.
Like, dude, like, would you ever have sex with like a person that was hot but like mentally retarded? Like,
I mean, all right.
I think that says yes.
Define retarded. Like how? Like what?
Define retarded.
In what
She's
way?
drooling. Like
I
she
mean,
can't
can
she
she
can't
do?
speak.
Can she do like long division?
No, I just said she's drooling and can't speak. Like,
Can she add? Like, can she do 2 plus 2? Like,
yeah, she can do calculus, but she can't wipe her ass.
well, if you could do calculus, I mean, what is she like an autistic savant or something? Like,
Yeah, yeah, like that counts as disabled. I guess that. Well, I don't know. Like I've romanticized the idea of being an autistic savant during my darkest moments. Like, if I'm autistic, like at least I'm a savant in some way, because evidently I've gotten to this point without being diagnosed as autistic. So that takes some level of skill.
yeah,
Well, a
okay,
savant would be recognizable. So
a savant, an autistic savant. Fucking. So would I do it? Would I bang a really, really, really hot, like super hot, but like flat out, just no one's at the driver's seat,
like sounds deaf even. Like it looks like Scarlett Johansson, but is like incapable of creating a word.
um. I don't know. Like, can like someone who's that fucking disabled like consent? Can they can they even like is that
Well,
even
that's what we're talking about here. That's the dilemma.
I don't know if they can do. I mean, I don't know. It would be like it would be like a fucking house pet in Heat. You know, like would you fuck your animal? Like,
Let's say that you wouldn't get caught.
oh my god. Like, oh, when you put it like that, like, nah, I don't think I could, cause like,
And what if she like really enjoyed it, like visibly, and she's just like, deftly screaming out, moans of pleasure and ecstasy.
I don't think I could do that because like my thing is I know this sounds gay or whatever, but I think I need to have like some kind of emotional connection because I can't get in the mood unless I'm ready to be like vulnerable to a person, right? And
Yeah,
I don't
I
know
at least need like, a hello, like a
yeah,
greeting.
I don't know yeah, I don't know if they can't if they can't even spell like tuna, like I don't know if like how far I could really connect with them.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's say she can say, "Hi, Chris, I like you," like something like.